She walked in, get the brooms out. Phillies complete the sweep of the Dodgers last night. We get to react to that, and we get to have a conversation about just how good this team is compared to all of Philadelphia sports and its history. Trends in the NFL that might benefit the Eagles, a whole lot more. Kincade Salciunas on a Fanatic Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
This year, the 2024 Phillies rotation has pitched better than the 2011 Four Aces rotation.
And it's been a bunch of years since the team has had 3 pitchers with 10 wins before the All-Star break. This is historic.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Friday morning, Philadelphia. Oh, my God, they did it. They completed the sweep of the L.A. Dodgers. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
It is a good morning when you get good stories to talk about like that, and it was an amazing 3 nights of baseball.
Unbelievable. You had the absolute beatdown in Game 1 where they win 10-1. Then you have the edge of your seat game in Game 2 when they win 4-3. They come back. The big Matt Strahm out against Shohei Ohtani, and then he gets out of the inning the very next batter. And, Jeff Hoffman goes out there, gets the save. And then yesterday, more comfortable game, but still tight, right? A 5-1 ball game, especially against a lineup like the Dodgers.
It never felt comfortable to me yesterday.
No, it didn't. And a lineup like the Dodgers can always, one swing in the back can always change something. But the Phillies just continue to dominate. Yesterday, Aaron Nola, 6 strong innings, allows just 1 earned run, 4 hits, strikes out 9. Matt Strahm, again, a shutout inning. Jeff Hoffman, again, a shutout inning. And then good for Jose Alvarado. I know it wasn't a safe situation, but Alvarado goes out there, walks 1 batter, strikes out 1, and has ultimately a clean 9th inning for the Phillies yesterday. And they get another win. And now all of a sudden they are 61-32. And that number 61 is also something else, John.
The magic number.
Unbelievable.
I think it truly is crazy to me because last night, before I went to bed, I said the Phillies win total 61 and the magic number 62. And then the Braves lost, which is always delicious. And so now you wake up this morning before the All-Star break, and the magic number is 61, and that's your win total. This is unfamiliar territory for all of us as Phillies fans. It's completely unfamiliar.
It's completely unfamiliar, which leads me to this question today. And we'll have more fun reacting to the series. We'll have more fun reacting to what's ahead. They have an easier series against the A's, even though they just swept the Dodgers.
We hope.
Easier series against the A's, you hope. And you hope that they go into the All-Star break on a good note after this 3-game series. 7 Phillies players will be participating in the All-Star game. Well, at least because obviously injuries and guys sit out. But 7 players elected, All-Star game. The Phillies will be everywhere. I have a question.
What's that?
And it's a Fanatic Friday. It's a fun, fun Friday, laid-back Friday. There's really no hard-hitting topic that you and I are going to
go one.
after. Yeah. Should they trade this player? No. I want to know this.
Who would you rather have?
Right. Is this Phillies team one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history?
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Now,
the question seems
crazy,
but then when you think about it, it's still, there's so much to be written.
They are 61-32. They are very close to doubling their loss total to where they are at with wins. Like if they sweep the A's, think about it. They sweep the A's. They are 64-32. That is double the record.
That'd be wild. I don't expect that to happen, by the way, with their pitching situation this weekend.
Sure.
I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
But maybe they win 10-9 every single night. Who knows?
But the fact that this team is where they're sitting, putting themselves in a great position, getting healthier,
yes,
which is a big deal too. Yes, I've never felt this way about any Phillies team. Any.
Like if you think about it, John, like baseball, you can't have more than like 130 wins. It's impossible,
no,
right? It's impossible.
No, I think 116 is it? Connor, I think it's the record.
Yeah,
I believe so. Yes.
I think 116 is the record.
This almost has the feeling of like the Golden State Warriors when they got Kevin Durant, where you just knew they were going to win every single night, or like when they lost, you were surprised, right?
Big name, yeah.
the Phillies have kind of reached that territory where when they lose, I'm not surprised because it's a long season, but I'm more expecting of them to win than lose at this point. Like, if you just bet Phillies money line every single night, you have a pretty good shot of hitting. Like, it's crazy.
I'm expecting the second half of the summer to be a lot different than this first month has been. I think there's going to be not what we call about bump in the road, but bumps in the road. Little stretches where they lose 3 of 4, they lose 2 of 3. I'm expecting them to come because the schedule before Labor Day is going to get much tougher after the All-Star break.
But we just said that about this.
We did.
And they dropped 2 of 3 to the Braves,
we said about
but then they sweep the Dodgers.
I got you. I'm just telling you is that I do believe, and this can't continue at this pace, and it shouldn't continue at this pace.
No, it shouldn't, but it might.
And it wasn't. And the big deal is, here's the best part. It doesn't have to continue at this pace.
No, it doesn't have to. I mean, you've been talking about if they go 500 the rest of the way, they finish with, what, 96 wins?
Right now, it's 95.5.
Okay.
So if they go 500 the rest of the way. I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done. And what they've done is they've given themselves a giant safety net.
Oh, absolutely.
So if they have a week where they go 2-5, which I'm sure people will be sounding the alarms, it means nothing.
It means nothing.
It means absolutely nothing.
I mean, you told us yesterday that the Phillies have only dropped 3 straight games, one time, and have only lost back-to-back games 6 times?
6 times.
In a Major League Baseball season that's nearing the All-Star game. Like, that's borderline impossible, I would think, but I don't know. I would have to look at the other teams and how those teams have done. But I want to focus on this. Is this Phillies team one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? Now, hold on a second, because I know there's somebody in their car or they're waking up early and maybe they didn't need to have a cup of coffee after what I just said. Forget winning a championship for a second. I know that's hard to do, but I will just tell you the 2011 Phillies, to me, is the greatest Phillies team I've ever seen, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs, right? Like, the Phillies in 2008 won the World Series. If I were to compare
with their lowest win total.
Right. If I were to compare 2008 to 11, I'm taking the 11 team a million times out of a million, but they lost in the first round of the playoffs. So I know there's somebody saying, well, hold on, let's see what they do before you crown them anything. I'm just saying, looking at a team, looking at how they have played, talent that is on the team, because this team is filled with it, is this one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? Not just Phillies, John.
Well, one regular season reminds me of this in my entire life, and you weren't alive for it.
Okay.
It's the Sixers when they rampaged to their NBA championship. And that season was an absolute bore.
Yeah. Right.
Except to just watch the Sixers clown people. They just rampaged through the NBA. It was when Moses Malone said faux, faux, faux.
Yeah, they literally almost did that.
They did faux, 5 faux. But he when Mo said that, it was arrogant. It was cocky.
And
it was a bore, though. The playoffs were even a bore.
Right. Right, because when you're up 3-0, it's like, all right, let's get this over with.
They honestly just dominated everybody.
They went 65-17 that season, which is an amazing winning percentage.
This is the first time I've ever felt, and I'm serious, that I've ever felt this way about a Phillies team.
In 40 years.
Because 2011 that you talk about so fondly all the time, again, I told you that I had my doubts about the setup. But also, too, I had been kicked in the privates in the World Series in 2009, which I don't, because if my team loses in the World Series or loses in the Super Bowl, I don't consider that just, that's crushing. Like, you got to a World Series. You got to a Super Bowl. But 2010's loss, I considered horrendous.
The Giants, yeah.
And then 2011, so I had doubts by this point. And so I had doubts in that, are they heading in the right direction? My doubts ended up being proven true. They were heading on the downturn. That team was heading in the opposite direction. They lose in the World Series. They lose in the NLCS. They lose in the NLDS.
Are we not in the same exact spot?
That's what
we are.
That's where exactly,
we are.
Connor. That's exactly where I was leading.
Yep.
So that's where in my head I will not hold my breath, but I will just enjoy this fun. I will enjoy the entertainment of this summer because we need entertainment in the summer.
Absolutely. So in comparison to the 2011 Phillies, again, that's the best team that I've seen in my life.
What did they win? 102?
They won 102 games. It's the best Phillies team I've ever seen. I could make the case that up until this point, it may have been the best team that I've seen in my life. Obviously, there have been some dominant Eagles teams from my time, from my childhood. I can't even give the 0-1 Sixers the nod. We talked about this the other day. It was one of the worst teams ever got to an NBA Finals.
I can't believe it. It's the Philly team that I most admire.
Right,
getting to a championship
because they fit the mold of Philadelphia perfectly.
Larry Brown is an unspoken just legend in this town.
So at this point. In 2011, so July 12th, their All-Star break had already happened. So July 10th was the last game they played.
And what were they at?
They were 57-34.
Okay, so they were right around the same amount of games.
But even better now.
Right.
Even better now for the Phillies, and then they come out of the All-Star break and they take 2 of 3 against the Mets, so they probably were on pace. So
this team's better than that team.
It is.
This team is better. This team is better than that team.
And it's funny, our Open, we have a new Open that's been playing the last. We update it every once in a while. And you hear me talk about how the pitching staff of this year's team, not resume, just the way they have pitched this year.
What they've done.
Has been better than what the pitchers did in 2011. And that was Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, and Cole Hamels. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez, those 4 have pitched better through the first 3 months of the season than, 3 Hall of Famers? Or 2 Hall of Famers, excuse me?
And honestly, even though you could look at the ERA and the numbers, you could argue that Aaron Nola is pitching better, much better than his ERA indicates.
Absolutely.
Because he has been on a tremendous... Now, last night, he really wasn't good in the first 2 innings.
And then he locked in.
And then he locked in, which is sort of an odd Nola start. And that, to me, is very promising. That when you see Nola scuffle like that, you usually see Nola exit in the 5th, and they're usually giving up some runs, and they're down. And, he battled through. Yeah, and that's another great sign.
ERA, I'm realizing, is not a great stat to evaluate Aaron Nola's performance because the home run is such a problem for him.
Right.
I would rather look at his whip than his ERA because one missed pitch, the next thing you know, you're giving up an earned run, and that's kind of always been his thing. But he works around a lot more batters than you would suggest with a mid-3s ERA.
He absolutely does. He navigates it well. I would say to you, though, let's just take out a pitcher giving up bombs. Let's take that out when we evaluate them. No, I can't.
Wow.
He's the guy most likely to give up the bomb, and that to me still is something that's going to be anxious.
I'm not saying it's good.
No, I'm just saying that because he can put it together. He's shown it, like against the Braves, against the Cardinals in 2022. He was freaking spectacular.
So, Connor, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Is this the greatest team? Now, I'm not trying to age you, John. Our years are less than John's. So we have.
No, it's a different perspective.
It is a different perspective.
Right, that's fine.
Like you saw, we did not see the 82, 83 Sixers, so I can't talk about how they ran through the league, and 65-17 is a ridiculous record.
You would have been in your glory.
Right.
You as a Sixers devotee, you would have absolutely been in your glory because you would have enjoyed every 25-point blowout.
I 100% would.
You would have loved it.
Where does this team rank in Philadelphia sports history of your lifetime? And then we are educated, right? So I know about that Sixers team. I just didn't live it. I don't have that same feeling of I was bored. Right, yeah, I don't have that feeling because I wasn't alive for it.
And it's funny because Bobby talked about it yesterday. Bob was talking about it. He goes, I got to tell you, I enjoy watching my team dominate somebody.
Right.
Like to me, the 10-1 game on Tuesday night. I don't tend to be on the internet during games a ton, and unless something happens. And I want to check out what people are reacting to or everything. Like I was bored silly the other night.
Right, because you knew that game was over.
That game bores me. And I love seeing it, but it still bores me.
So Connor, where is this Phillies team for you? Not just Phillies. I want to talk the whole landscape because damn have they been dominant this year.
Now, I brought up like a month and a half ago that I think this is the best Phillies team I've ever seen.
You did. I remember you saying it.
I've been long on this train. So I think they're the best baseball team I've ever seen in my lifetime. But I can't believe we are 15 minutes into this show, and a football team from 2 years ago has not been mentioned.
No.
The 2022 Eagles, we had conversations daily about that being the best Eagles team in franchise history. They didn't just win. They beat the brakes off of everybody.
The weird thing is I thought 17
I was about to
regular season was better.
Because that one also, they beat the brakes off of
I think 17's
everybody.
regular season to me seemed more like the Sixers clowning everybody.
Right.
That Phillies, that Eagles team, and it's maybe because of the way that Nick Sirianni chose to coach them. Remember, he would take the foot off the brake.
Yeah.
Remember, Doug Peterson would. They'd put up 14 in the fourth quarter.
Also, though, you got to remember, if we're looking at season in totality without championship, you played, 4 games without a starting quarterback MVP in 2017 with no hopes of him returning. That changes the dynamic of how good that team was. Like, even in 2022, Jalen Hurts goes down for 2 games, comes back immediately, the team's back where they want to be.
Right.
Like, we had a conversation about, and we know there have been some good Eagles teams, of that being the best Eagles team we've ever seen. They have to be in the conversation. And I think 04 has to be in the conversation for the Eagles as well.
has to be in the conversation.
I looked at 17 better than 04. I looked at 17 better than 22.
So let's throw 17 in there. But there have been some really good Eagles teams. I can't look at a Sixers team in my lifetime that has come close to what this Phillies team is doing, and I can't look at a Flyers team that's come close.
Because I can't give the Jimmy Butler, JJ Wright to Butler. Like, that was a great team.
That wasn't it.
Right.
I mean,
that
team was so
these
poor.
are the top of the top.
Yes.
Like, we're talking about the greatest teams of our lifetime.
Here's the weird thing is, I think the two of you should take the one word out of it. Take out Phillies team. I think this is the greatest team, and I'm not judging for you guys because you guys have your own eyes. When I look at your generation and your generation of fans, this is the greatest team you guys have ever seen.
All right, so let's discuss that.
I believe that. But the thing is, again, you're looking at it through 30-some-year-old eyes. It's different.
Right.
It's a different.
Hey, 29, don't age me.
I'm looking at it and I'm going, you guys are, again, you've been spoiled rotten.
All right.
So it's different.
You can text in, you can call in 610-632-0975. Phillies sweep the Dodgers, and it just made me think, like, is this one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? Like, I thought of what you said, Connor, like you said, about a month and a half ago, and I disagreed with you because the 2011 team was still the best in my lifetime. But this isn't resume. This isn't like, no, I'd rather have Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee. No, I'm talking about the way a team is playing. This team is almost like, I don't know, like it's the best team in baseball.
This team's
the best team in baseball.
This team, I can tell you right there, you mentioned Cliff Lee. This team cares more than Cliff Lee.
Yeah, sure.
This team cares more.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden right there, I'm going to tell you this team gives a damn more. This team, I guarantee you, goes to the car, wakes up the next morning, pissed off when they lose or when they don't accomplish a hell of a lot more than Cliff Lee ever did.
Well, that's one guy. Nick.
No, I'm saying is though,
you can say
but
the
it's
same
one
thing
of
about
the
Nick Castellanos.
You know what, Castellanos.
No, but I don't necessarily agree with that.
Yeah, but the way he
absolutely
portrays himself.
He portrays. I think it's a defense mechanism.
It might be. It might be. All right. The other thing I want to bring this up real quick, and this will lead to a discussion as well. So Kyle Lowry re-signs with the Sixers yesterday, and we talked about it during the show yesterday that it would be great to have him back.
Wonderful.
You know, we literally said even if it's just 15 to 20 minutes.
Yes.
He's that veteran point guard that can start or he can come off the bench. And it also helps Tyrese Maxey because I still don't believe that Tyrese Maxey is a true point guard, right? Like, if you still believe that he's a true point guard, I think you're naive, and I think you just think positionless basketball. Kyle Lowry is a legitimate point guard. Tyrese Maxey is a combo guard. So I think it's great that they brought Kyle Lowry back. I know this team has not played a minute yet together, right? So this is completely on paper, and I'm not even doing championship discussion. I want to have a conversation about Daryl Morey. Are people willing to tip their cap? Because I think there's been a weird relationship with Daryl Morey and Sixers fans because of what he was considered when he was brought in, and it hasn't amounted to anything yet. But he also came in to clean up a messy situation. It was like, remember, he got rid of the Horford contract.
He was dealt a terrible hand of cards.
And he cleaned up the mess pretty well.
He did.
But there was a time not long ago before Paul George signed here. I'm talking about 2 weeks ago where I myself was panicking that this Sixers plan may not work out. And I think a lot of people were out on Daryl Morey or doubting Daryl Morey, are you willing to trust Daryl Morey now that you've seen the plan kind of come together and it's not done yet?
Oh, it's
Hold
not
on to
done
that
yet.
answer. I would love to get your answer on it, Connor's answer on it, and of course you at 610-632-0975. We continue this discussion coming up next. If it's not the Phillies, this Phillies team, who is the greatest team in Philadelphia sports history? It's Kincade and Salciunas on a Fanatic Friday right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Fanatic Day. Let's make it a great weekend. All right, so here's what we're talking about today. Phillies, after their sweep with the Dodgers, I need to know, is this one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? History, okay? Not just one of the greatest Phillies teams. Not, is this the best team of the last 3 years? I'm asking, is this Phillies team one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? John, you mentioned the 82-83 Sixers and how they just basically made a mockery of the league.
But in the modern era, I mean, your lifetimes, there's one answer. This one.
The only team
so.
I rival. So I know we talked about 2022. I thought of 17 before 2022. I know we said that the 2022 Eagles were the greatest defense. We were saying they were one of the greatest defenses.
You and I both say 17 over regular season.
Regular season.
17 over 22.
And it had nothing to do with the Super Bowl.
I absolutely do.
And then I look it up in terms of where they were ranked with the rest of the league. Now this is just specific categories, but points, they were third offensively. And points allowed, they were fourth defensively.
That's fantastic.
They were in the top five. Their offense and their defense was both top five. Well, top four, yeah.
Yes.
The 2022 Eagles, third points scored, eighth points allowed. Now
that's crazy.
Now they had big leads and they played 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, but so did Jim Schwartz and all that. Remember, a lot of people hated Jim Schwartz's defense.
I think 22, they literally took the foot off the gas constantly.
Yeah, because they didn't have to score anymore.
But they also had in 2022 the sack numbers. Right. 2017 had the turnover numbers. Like, there were upsides to both teams. This is a fun conversation because all these teams are awesome.
It's such a barroom discussion. So, I think talent-wise, 22 was better than the 17 Eagles. But, again, this conversation today is not just about talent. Like, this pitching staff is not better than the 11 pitching staff resume-wise.
No,
but this pitching staff has pitched better than the 11 staff.
I care about accomplishment. They're better. This year's better. And I think it's distinctly better because of accomplishment. And I'm going to go.
Well, I can't go distinctly. If they win 105 games, that's three more.
The 11 team did not have on July, I think it was July 1st, the top three pitchers in ERA.
Right,
in the National League. That's accomplishment.
That's accomplishment.
That's it. Look, it's regular season accomplishment. Where you're at, looking at each regular season as it is. Do you watch this Phillies team and feel like you felt in 17? Or, Connor, feel like you felt in 22?
Oh, or I expect them to win every single night? Yeah.
It's kind of tough because baseball's so different.
It is a different sport.
Like, I expect them to win 2 out of 3.
All right, fine. I expect them to win every series.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about that?
And I think that's the same way.
I don't expect them to lose a series at this point. I know they just did to the Braves earlier in the week. I get that, but I can't help myself. Every time I see the Phillies, like you mentioned the Phillies schedule and how it gets a little bit more difficult after the All-Star break.
There's a 19-game stretch coming up that is very strong.
And I know that's hard in the sport of baseball because it's not 19 over a course of 19 weeks. It's 19 games over the course of 3 weeks.
22 days.
But every team I look at, I know the Pirates have the greatest pitcher in the history of the world in Paul Skeens right now. I expect them to take 2 of 3 against the Pirates. I expect them to take 2 of 3 against the Twins. I expect them to take 2 of 3 against the Guardians. The Yankees is finally a difficult series, but man, that's 4 series after the All-Star break.
And then a brutal 10-game road trip.
Yes.
Mariners, Dodgers, Diamondbacks.
But
that is a tough 10-game road trip to start off.
It is,
no,
but
you're not seeing it right.
Those teams see the Phillies coming to town.
I got you.
I'll be in Arizona, so they're not going to lose while
you
I'm
will
out
be
there.
there. That's good. I like hearing
So
that.
you could take that one off the
Well, they
docket.
shouldn't lose to that team anyway because they're dreadful.
You'll be out at the giant Costco.
Yeah.
Hey, they just beat the Braves 2 out of 4.
And we'll
thank you for that. Thank you,
we'll take
Diamondbacks.
that. That's what makes the magic number down to 61.
Woo.
So we'd love to get your answer. 610-632-0975. Is this Phillies team one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history in your lifetime, or if you consider yourself a scholar, a historian, go ahead. Give us it.
And take out the whole, well, you got to win a championship.
Yep.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about regular season.
Yeah, and that's
regular
why I say
season.
2011 up until this year was the greatest Phillies team I ever watched. And I've seen a team win a World Series, get back to a World Series. I saw the World Series in 2022, and up until this year, that 2011 team was still the best I've ever seen in my lifetime, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs. The other thing I want to get into, and I want to get your answers on this because we kind of ran out of time in the first segment. Does Daryl Morey have your trust?
Trust?
Your faith? Whatever word
Faith-
you want to use.
Yeah, I guess so. I still haven't seen any results. But what I've seen is he's done more, and I said it the other day. I underestimated what Daryl Morey could do with the resources that he had. I did not expect this roster to look as good as I feel it does.
Okay.
So I will give him, how about this? I'll give him credit. He hasn't earned he hasn't earned my faith or trust yet.
You know how we had that conversation, one of our first weeks of the show, whether or not Howie Roseman has reached a point of no longer questioning anything he does, right? We had a legitimate debate, and you said you should question anybody.
There's faith and there's blind faith.
Right.
I do not give blind faith to anyone.
And that's totally
to
fair.
Anyone. Maybe my wife.
But the fact that we were able to at least have that conversation tells you how great Howie Roseman is. We can't have that conversation with Daryl Morey, right? Like, he does not deserve that conversation.
He hasn't earned it.
Not many people do, so that's not a shot at Daryl Morey. Not many people have the blind faith discussion surrounding them. But does Daryl Morey have more faith, or do you have more faith in Daryl Morey now where you can go, he's going to make a move, and I'm going to see how it plays out before I jump all over it?
I had more faith in Daryl Morey than I did 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And again, he outperformed what I expected him to be able to do. And for that, the old tip of the cap, as you wear your throwback Phillies cap today, it's a tip of the cap to Daryl Morey. I think he's done more and accomplished more as far as building what a roster looks like for the season we're looking forward to having. Much better than I expected.
And I think this is an interesting conversation in terms of how are you considered successful, right? You and I have had the debate about Joel Embiid, and whether he's a winner or not. And look, he has not gone out of the second round, but I think we look at things differently when it comes to that. Daryl Morey has never won an NBA championship, but perspective, as Connor has brought up a couple of times, he was the president of basketball operations of the Houston Rockets when the Golden State Warriors were a dynasty.
But he was in position to beat them.
He was, and the fact that they didn't. The fact that they were in position to beat them is more than
a very big accomplishment.
More than what a lot of teams in the Western Conference were able to say.
But you gotta, and Daryl Morey, the thing is too, is where I look at him. He built a team that had the Warriors on the ropes.
Right.
Twice, I believe.
Twice.
And let them wriggle off. I put that on the players and the coaches.
More than Daryl Morey.
Yeah, because if they're I don't put that on Daryl. That's a recipe that he created.
Right.
And then the final meal just turned out to be a little less.
So I've always said I think he's slightly overrated because the way some people talk about Daryl Morey, it's as if, he is the greatest GM in the history of the NBA. But he does a lot more than what I think other GMs do. And I don't know
What do you mean a lot more?
Like, the way he's been able to get off of contracts, the way he's been able to move on, like this mess. I don't know how many GMs could come in and clean up this mess unless you just did another Sam Hinkie approach and you just tore it all down again.
I think
he's never torn it down, and they've been competitive every single year.
Greatest praise you can give him, and he earns that praise big time.
Yeah.
He earns that big time.
Like,
yeah, I'll buy into that.
How many teams do you think, when you had that Horford contract that was a mess, right? A mess. You had Josh Richardson, who just doesn't fit in today's NBA, and you gave him a decent amount of money. Not him, the previous regime. Many new GMs that get hired go, all right, well, I'm going to completely get rid of all these things and just try to build it my way. He came in here, and he's been able to keep Joel Embiid. He had to work out the Tobias Harris situation, Ben Simmons situation, his own mess created by the James Harden situation, which, he does deserve some criticism for it, even though it was probably the best move at the time. He never tore it down. They've been contenders every single year, despite all the issues that he came in with.
And with the opportunity now where around the NBA people talked about it. I saw it talked about on NBA Live and things like that. A lot of GMs would have torn it down with Joel Embiid right now.
I think so.
They would have said, see what you can get for Embiid now. His value's never going to be higher. And Daryl Morey, and I think it's ownership's marching orders, that it wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to do that. They did not want that to be the case. But Daryl Morey's done a great job. That's his greatest skill that we've seen.
Connor, where are you at with this Daryl Morey discussion?
Here's the weird thing. I never really had that much of a lack of faith or trust in Daryl Morey because I don't think he's made many bad moves. There have only been a handful of things, not even a handful, since he's taken over operations for the Sixers that have been like, okay, that was a mistake. One of them was this year where you didn't address the backup center position, also knowing Embiid was already hurt by the time you got to the buyout market, the trade deadline. So that's an overlook, but I think in addition to that, the Buddy Hield trade was a great move. Bringing Kyle Lowry in was a great move. The other one, you go way back to what, George Hill making that move. I always thought that was just not enough.
I liked that move.
A lot of people did.
I thought it was going to be a good move.
Yeah, but that's a personal. Like, you have to look at the moves in the moment, and if he made the best possible decision or justifiably the best decision. And you could say that like 90+% of the time, Daryl Morey's made a move for the Sixers. He's made the justifiable right decision.
Right. And like the one thing that I've been critical of him in the past, the biggest thing has been relying on the buyout market and then the buyout market being dry. Like there hasn't been players available. But then again, is that his fault? Like Robin Lopez, I still remember. The Magic. I have good intel that they wanted Robin Lopez at one of the buyout markets 2 or 3 years ago. The Magic wanted to trade him for they wanted 2 first-round picks.
That's ridiculous.
Nobody's going to trade 2 first-round picks for Robin Lopez. And
we would rip them if they did.
Right, and then they decided to hold on to him.
Right, that's the thing.
I can't blame Daryl Morey for not giving up 2 first-round picks for Robin Lopez.
How much can you ask a guy to see the future? You should have a plan. You should be able to read tea leaves to some extent, but there's some point where it's just like, we assume he's supposed to know something that nobody else knows, and there's times where it's just,
nobody knew that the Bulls would keep their team together last year.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
You're right.
Of Andre Drummond.
Absolutely.
That was a miscalculation.
Absolutely.
And two, we've never heard Daryl Morey say that, well, that was the move that I expected to make. We just assume it.
We just assume it. Correct. Because there was a lot of smoke.
And now that we see it.
And now he's here.
Right,
it's amazing.
But the stuff that he has done, and we knew he had to be active this offseason because he literally didn't have a roster. Like the moves that Daryl Morey we've had problems with are the moves he hasn't made.
Right.
We knew he had to make moves, and every big move he's made for this organization has justifiably been the right one. So I never really had like this lack of trust in him. I just think there's more going on, players, coaches, fit, that just hasn't worked out.
All right.
Excuse me, I like what you said there, though. Every move that he's made, like, look, I couldn't stand, I didn't like James Harden coming in.
I know you didn't.
It was a damn good move, though.
It was.
Like, I mean, there's like, you're trading a guy who has quit.
Yeah, and then even moving on from him was a great move because it set you up for this offseason. You got a bunch of expiring contracts out of it. So, look, the guy is bright. It just hasn't led to a championship yet. So our 2 questions today. Is this Phillies team the greatest team in Philadelphia sports history, regular season-wise? Yes or no? And if you say no, tell us the team that's better. And then when it comes to the Sixers and Daryl Morey, do you have trust in him? Because he's probably earned it this offseason. And don't give me the whole, I got to see how it plays out first. No. Do you have the faith or the trust in Daryl Morey? 610-632-0975. We get your texts and reactions coming up next. Also, questions out of the hat on this Fanatic Friday. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now is the time to become a fanatic.
97.5, The Fanatic. Got a lot in store for you today. Kevin Negandhi will be joining us at 9 o'clock today, normally on Thursdays, but he had a nice day. He went golfing with his two sons yesterday. That's got to be cool.
That's a great day.
Yeah, like I'll have that one day with young Coop. I hope it takes as long as possible, but that must have been pretty cool for Kevin. And then we'll do something for FanFest tickets in the 8 o'clock hour because we are 1 week away from a major day.
Major day?
Major day, 1 week away.
1 week away.
Tell you about it later on in the show.
What a tease.
I can't wait.
You're a terrible tease.
All right, we'll get to the texts and calls in a second. You can text in, call in 610-632-0975. Here are what the topics today. Is this Phillies team, and I know it's still not even the All-Star break yet.
Correct.
But come on. Like, you've watched every single night. You can have an opinion on this. Is this Phillies team one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? And it's based off of what they have done, not necessarily the specific player, the roster construction, or the resumes of the player. I will once again say the 2011 pitching staff, based off of resume, far outweighs this one. But what this team has accomplished so far, what this pitching staff has accomplished so far, is better than what the 2011 pitching staff did, which is amazing.
Yes.
So is this one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? And do you have faith in Daryl Morey? Because I think a lot of people were wavering or completely out on him, and then the plan started to come to fruition. It's not done yet. I saw a report late last night that Gary Trent Jr. has narrowed his decision between two teams, and the Sixers are one of them. So that's something to keep an eye on. It will be more added depth to this team. All of a sudden, you're starting to see a nice basketball team being put together, and that was the plan of Daryl Morey's. He saw this plan last year. He kick the can down the road approach. He said it on this radio station.
He did.
That next year's CBA, the way it works out, the way we have contracts coming up off the books, the way we will have money, the way we will have contracts that we can spend with, he knew what he was going to do. It just had to play out first, and we're seeing it play out. So do you have the faith in Daryl Morey?
No. Faith is earned, and it's earned by the accomplishment of what he builds.
Okay.
If he builds a building and it falls apart,
I got you.
then I'm going to be like a building inspector. I'm going to wait and see how the structure holds
It's kind
up.
of like Dream Team. The Dream Team was, everybody was fired up for it, and then they won 4 games.
But what I did say is the same thing, and I will say it again, is that Daryl Morey has far exceeded my expectations of what he was able to do with this blank slate. I didn't think this blank slate was going to be, I didn't think it would create this. I'm impressed. Very impressed.
All right, Connor, let us know if we have anything on the text line. Let's go to Jay in West Philly. Good morning, Jay. What's going on, man?
What's up, Jay?
Yo, Jay. All right, Jay's not there. We'll put him on hold. All right, what do we have?
He might have fallen asleep.
He may have. What do we have on the text line there, Connor?
So our guy Joe the Cynic that checked in yesterday, saying how great all 4 years were in 80 to 83, and then all 4 Philly teams. He has some reality in his opinion. Andrew, how about holding off on the best Phillies team, especially coming off an Eagles collapse like we saw? Nobody saw that coming last year.
I would not have said that last year's Eagles team, despite their 10-1 record, was one of the better Eagles teams. There were flaws in that team, and we talked about it. I tried. There were days where I would go, but what does it matter? They keep on winning. The 2022 Eagles were far better than last year's Eagles, and it's nothing to do with me knowing how it played out. Through 11 games in 22, you felt better than the 11 games in 23.
Absolutely.
Like, it wasn't even close.
I took so much grief for coming in on, they're 7-1, 8-1. And people are like, oh, my God, you're nitpicking. They're 8-1. It doesn't matter. Oh, my God. And I was like, it doesn't matter again. It doesn't matter till it matters.
But you have to have a feel. Like
does this team feel like they have a collapse ahead of them?
No, they don't.
Chance.
No, like
they
don't.
World.
7 more guys have to get hurt. They've already won games without Real Muto, Harper, and Schwarber. They went 4-3 during that stretch.
They were 4-3 during that stretch.
Without three of their best players.
They do not have nothing about them says anything but just sustained excellence.
Trey Turner missed 6 weeks, and Edmundo Sosa became Derek Jeter, and then Trey Turner comes back and is Ted Williams.
If Lehigh Valley played a month in the place of the Phillies, they'd still find a way. Like this team just had something special.
Ted Williams was beheaded.
Well, maybe
they cryogenic lab.
Maybe when Trey was out, they swapped
maybe
heads.
they did. They maybe swapped heads because he's incredible. I mean, he said last night when he came for his last at bat, he was hitting 352.
That's unbelievable.
I said that's a street.
So like
that's not a batting average.
I get what Joe's saying, and then it plays in the name perfectly, Joe the Cynic. I totally get what he's saying, but dude, listen, like this team doesn't feel like there's a collapse.
No,
coming.
it does not. And last year, absolutely, that was a shaky 10-1.
The 10-1 in 2022.
It was shaky as hell.
You said, "Oh my God, this team is one of the greatest teams I ever saw." Nobody last year during that 10-1 start said this is one of the greatest Eagles teams I've ever seen. Nobody said it.
Right.
Nobody said it. All right. On Fridays, we pull random questions out of the hat. I know more have been added because we've been running through them because this is so much fun. Give us a random question out of the hat on this Fanatic Friday, Connor.
All right, here's what we got here to start off. If you could only have one drink for the rest of your life besides water, what would it be and why?
My obsession with unsweetened iced tea. I do not drink soda of any kind.
Man, I got to tell you, if the rest of my life was water and unsweetened iced tea, well, I'm checking out.
I couldn't do it. I don't think most people could do without any kind of caffeine.
See, my first thought was a beer, but here's the deal. Like I have fun in other ways. Probably coffee, but I can't drink coffee all day.
It's a tough question. I'm going beer.
Yeah, but
You're going beer and water?
Yep. What more do you need?
Wait, so water is included?
No, obviously you get
Water's
water.
one.
I can't just drink beer every day.
Water's one, and then you get whatever else. But the thing is, though, I can do without alcohol. I can turn off. I can turn off alcohol, and I can turn on alcohol.
I can, but there's going to be a day between now and 40 years from now where I get done like cutting the lawn, and I want a beer.
All right, I'll go with the yellow Gatorade.
Interesting. That's not even the best Gatorade flavor.
No,
that's a terrible pick.
No, I like a yellow.
The blue
Gatorade.
You like the blue icy one?
Yeah. The light
zero?
blue is
I like
the light blue zero is the best.
Gatorade
we have
hits.
yellow Gatorade and unsweet iced tea coming out
yellow
of that room.
Gatorade.
It has to be.
Well,
What's yours?
Look, I want to say alcohol, but I can find other ways to change how my brain is working.
You say that, but you're going to be sitting on the beach. You're going to want a beer. You're going to be at a ball game. You're going to want a beer.
You're right.
There's too many beer opportunities.
But then you have to pick the beer because you
right, exactly.
Well, sure, but just like probably generic light beer.
Yeah,
whoever's willing to pay the most money to Kincade Salciunas.
That makes it actually worse to me.
That's
generic. If you're telling me generic,
that's a great question.
You could
man.
pick.
It is a great
brand.
question, though.
All right, coming up next, we reset the entire show. We get more of your texts and more of your calls, and also, John is going to tell us an NFL trend that benefits the Eagles this season.
I'm going to put a smile on your face. Another one.
But I have to wonder if it actually is real or not. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic.
Fanatic, good morning. I hope we all have a wonderful weekend. Weather
Great
doesn't
morning.
look too great, but
No.
we can still have fun on a weekend.
Sure you can.
Enjoy yourself, man. All right, so we got a lot, as I said, in store for you. There were some random things that I saw on social media that I can't wait to bring up to you guys. One of them is just guys being dudes and how awesome that is. And I saw something that I did not think would ever be possible. Now, I'm not going to tell you that till like the 8 o'clock hour.
I can't wait to hear about this.
I hope you guys are
something you never thought could
John,
be possible.
I didn't even put it on the show sheet. I wrote it down separately because I didn't want you to see it.
Okay, good.
I don't know if you saw it on social media yesterday. There were a couple of things. Yesterday was a great day of social media.
We may have different algorithms.
Yes, 100%.
I think you seem to have a negative algorithm more than than I do. You see a lot of the lunatic fringe more than I do.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know why.
And then I see video game stuff.
Oh, video game stuff.
That stuff
But you know,
pops
though,
up.
now I do too.
Because
I'm in your
me.
proximity.
Yeah, that's
so I see people playing video games.
Yeah, it's probably it's
a lot of that.
My fault for speaking it into your phone's existence. All right, so in about 10 minutes, less than that, 7:10, you're going to tell us about this NFL trend.
Yes.
That benefits the Eagles.
Yes.
And we'll discuss whether or not it's actually real or not.
Okay.
But we'll do that in a couple minutes. I want to get to some of your texts and your calls. You can text the show, call the show, 610-632-0975. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the Philadelphia Phillies and whether or not this Phillies team is the greatest team in Philadelphia sports history because all they do is go out there and win. Huck Palmer checks in on social media. He says it's one of them, but this squad is hard to beat, and it's the Sixers team that you talked about, the 1982-83 Sixers.
And for a lot of people, I almost want to take them out of it because of the fact that for a large part of our audience, they didn't experience.
Yeah, but that's okay. No,
I get it.
We're talking about history. So history is history, and they ran through the playoffs. They didn't just run through the regular season, finishing 65-17. They ran through the playoffs. They went 12-1 in the playoffs. Now, I know we're doing regular season discussion, but it's hard to ignore the fact that Moses Malone said faux, and they went 12-1. Like, it's pretty hard to ignore that, knowing that they also backed it up come playoff time. But this Phillies team, I said it in the beginning of the show, it reminds me of like the Warriors when Kevin Durant joined, and you just expected them to win every single night. I expect this Phillies team to win almost every single night, or as we discussed, every single series, because it's hard in baseball. Nobody's going to go 162-0.
I get more impressed with them all the time. They do things that impress me bigger and better all the time.
They went 4-3 without Harper, Schwarber, and Real Muto. Harper and Schwarber come back, and they sweep the second best team in baseball. And, handedly.
And more importantly, I just wanted to is that I want to continue on this trend because I want Game 1 at Citizens Bank Park.
Oh, yeah.
For both the NLDS and the NLCS. And if it's the World Series, bring it on, too.
That'd be awesome, too.
That'd be great.
They outscored the Dodgers in this series 19-5.
That was wild. And
19-5. And I know they're missing Mookie Betts. They still have Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman.
And Freddie Freeman was made to look, that's as bad as Freddie Freeman will look in any 3-game series.
Probably Ohtani, too.
Dude, Ohtani
was great. That was awesome.
Ohtani went 3 for 11, or 3 for 10, excuse me, 3 for 10. So he still had 300, but he went 3 for 10 in the series. Did not hit a home run. He didn't do anything.
But they limited
the
damage.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. That was the big thing.
1-8 against the Phillies all time.
Which is amazing.
I love that.
It really is amazing.
Yep.
Oh, man, this is a beautiful thing. And then when it comes to the Sixers, Daryl Morey, do you have faith in Daryl Morey? Because I think a lot of people were either out or were on the fence, and so far he has backed up this offseason with what he basically told us he was going to do, whether he said it himself or those reports of Paul George that came out a year ago. He backed it up. 610-632-0975. Let's go to Don in South Philly. What's up, Don?
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm all right. I think this Sixers team going to have the best record in the Eastern Conference.
That's bold.
I think Nick Nurse going to go for that.
Man, that's bold.
That's very bold. But that would be nice to see.
It'd be great. I'll tell
we
you.
have home court advantage all throughout the playoffs, and we beat everybody in the East.
So you trust Daryl Morey?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse going to go for that.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, look, Nick Nurse is a big added piece of this team. Thanks for the call, Don. I mean,
sure.
That was
Nick Nurse
awesome.
is a fantastic addition.
He is a fantastic addition. Now he actually has more pieces to work
fun to watch.
with, which is amazing.
I enjoyed last year before all hell broke loose. I enjoyed so much watching him coach every single game. I don't know how many games I texted Bob and was like, okay, what's he thinking here?
Right.
Like, what's he doing? And the fact that he was able to give all those fourth quarters off to Embiid, and Embiid was still rampaging as the favorite for an MVP.
And he was averaging 33 points a game without playing in the fourth quarter. That's ridiculous.
He had what a fantastic feel for the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it crazy that I want the Sixers to be the 2 seed? Like, that scares me, them being the 1 seed?
No.
Why?
Because I think
it is crazy that you say that.
It is crazy, though.
Because I think Boston's so good. Like, what you'd have to do to get the 1 seed is basically burn it out in the regular season. And
no, you can just be good.
You can, dude. I don't think there is just good is enough to catch up to that Boston team.
All
They're
right.
losing nobody. And I feel like if you're ending up at the 1 seed, you win, 60-some games? Like, for them to go out and do that, Embiid's going to have to play a lot. Paul George is going to have to play a lot. I'd almost rather
All right,
than
so you want scheduled losses.
Kind of.
Yeah,
which
you do.
Which is totally fair.
Kind of.
I disagree with that completely. I'd rather have home
The
court
hate
advantage.
that Doc Rivers got for that, I thought was way over the top. Scheduled loss. It happens.
Well,
The Phillies might lose a game to the Athletics this series.
yeah, but it wasn't. It won't be. It won't be because that Doc Rivers. It won't be because of the fact that they decide not to play Harper and Bohm and Stott in the same game.
Okay.
So sometimes the idiocy of the NBA is the fact that they literally will poop on their fan bases by charging incredible prices for some of the biggest matchups of the year and then say, we're choosing not to compete tonight.
It happens.
We're choosing to keep the stars out.
Happens
But the thing is-
league-wide.
The thing was, it's a disgrace because it never did happen.
Okay.
And it's this new age bull poopy.
Yeah, there's a lot of new age stuff that
And it doesn't.
we've had discussions
and there's
about it, what you agree and disagree
right.
with.
And there's no science to it.
There's logic to it.
There's no science to it that ever proves out.
There's
no.
absolute logic to it. I will defend this to the day
There's
I die.
none. There's none.
There's absolute logic to it.
What do we have on the text line, Connor?
Hang on, let me give me a second
logic
here.
to it.
Yes, use your logic. There 100% is,
Oh,
but we
yeah.
can move on.
Yes.
On the text line here, we've got to check in. Derek from North Philly says, if it's anyone that doesn't like what Daryl Morey has done with players the Sixers have, they know nothing about sports or basketball, and you should never let them give an opinion ever again on 97.5.
It's been an amazing offseason. Like, as far as we've really you talked about it yesterday, Andrew. We're approaching training camp now in 10 days.
Yeah.
Usually it's what people in our business, many of them will say, dog days.
Yeah, dog days of summer.
Let's do the Mount Rushmore show.
Yeah.
Let's do it. This is different. This year we've had nonstop content, and the Sixers have provided it. The Phillies have provided it. It's been awesome. Even the Flyers provided it for a few days.
I'll pull you guys behind the curtain. Before the show, I was saying, hey, any of you guys taking off? I forget what the August 19th and the 20th.
Right.
I just want to make sure, because if I put that time in, I had to actually look at the schedules to be like, all right, is this a good time to take off? That has never been a thing in sports talk radio here in Philadelphia in my 10 years. Like, actually thinking about whether or not it's a good time to take off during the summer, I actually had to see if it was actually a good time.
I don't think you can pick a better time, honestly.
Well, you could pick a worse time, and you kind of just did.
I could pick a worse time.
You
But,
did, but you had no idea.
Like if Paul George was going to sign.
no, I know. It's amazing, though, because I said the first day, like before this show even went on the air, just when we were having meetings behind closed doors, I said 2024 is going to be a year of content. And that was back in like February when we first started putting this show together.
Well,
it has never slowed. Has there been a slow day?
No. We've had a really good time with it, too. But July 1st is always NBA free agency.
Yes.
So we know that going forward. It's always July 1st. They don't change the date. It's always the same.
Lithuania waits for no
So
man,
you got
John.
that. You got that. So it is always there.
man. I had to get out there. I wasn't going to miss it.
Is that a dirty word or a good word?
No, it's the
Okay.
festival. It was
Festivus.
the 100.
Fenta?
100. Don't worry about it.
There
All
we
right.
go.
Okay.
Festivus.
Tell
for
us
the rest of
about
us.
this trend in the NFL, John.
Okay, I got some
that
good-
benefits the Eagles.
Got some good news for you. And want to thank my friends at the NFL Network for this one. Because it is a number that a lot of people don't think about. Is turnover differential. and how often turnover differential, and this plays right to a guy like Connor, where the numbers, where you're at. If you're going to have a great year, your turnover differential is going to be usually pretty wild.
Okay.
The 2017 Eagles were plus 11 in turnover differential. The Philadelphia Eagles of 2022 were plus 8. Plus 8 and plus 11 don't seem like crazy numbers, but usually plus 16, plus 15 probably is going to lead the league.
Right, because if you throw 3 picks in one game, that number changes quickly.
And you throw a Hail Mary at the end of the half.
Interception.
Things like that. Even great teams will push it at a point and those numbers. But here's one of the things that they found is statistically that when you have winning teams, now take this into account, winning teams tend to have the biggest, huge swings when they have up and down. So listen to this. So 2017, the Eagles are plus 11.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Super Bowl, win the championship. The next year, they're a minus 6. They're minus 6. How about this one for you? If you're a winning team, you never go backwards.
Okay.
Since they've been tracking this, you never go backwards. So if you're a winning team, the Eagles had a drop. When you are 10, when your swing is 10 or more, you never go backwards again the next year. Last year, that 2019 team, the next year, it only improved by 3, but it got better.
But improved.
They were at minus 3, which put them right towards the middle of the league. The 2022 Eagles were plus 8. The next year, they were minus 10.
Jesus.
It was an 18 turnover swing.
They were bad last year.
They were an 18 turnover swing. And so the Eagles, when they won the Super Bowl, the next year, 17 turnover swing. Last year, 18 turnover swing. The improvement there. Statistically, will tell you this. A winning team, when the 1 year is a winner and the next year is a winner, so that's what happened in both 17, 18, 22, 23, is guaranteed to be better. And the average better, the Eagles the one time only went up by 3. The average better is by 8.
So they'd be at minus 2.
They'd be at minus 2 if it went the worst. Do you think Jalen Hurts is going to be better there too?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
You think that? And one of the things that they said is turnovers in the NFL statistically, and they had a Harvard study, so it's got to be smart people, says that what percentage of turnovers is random? Is random. Because
like
of the
tip ball,
like
and
bounce
the way
of the
things
ball,
bounce,
a bounce of the ball. What considered part of
50,
turnovers?
50%.
No, it's less than that.
Okay.
Probably like a quarter, 25%.
Connor, you're pretty smart. Statistical mind. 21%. They believe 21.7% of turnovers, so 22%, are completely random.
Okay.
And what they found is with winning teams, you can count on that number completely going back to you. Like if you get screwed one year where you go to minus 17, minus 18 in turnovers, your number's terrible. You've taken a huge swing back. Last year, Eagles were minus 10. That you can count on just the bounce of the ball helping you out by around 20%.
So what you're saying is
The Eagles are going to be a much better team this year.
in terms of the turnover differential.
A much better team this year.
Now, you have a ton of data to back it up, so I'm not
Yes,
I'm not going
you'd
to
never-
I'm not refuting this.
It has to be winning teams, though, is the only where this counts.
And they're going to be a winning team this year. They will have
Right.
a plus 500 record. My question, again, this is statistics.
Right.
It's,
Sure.
Can it be fact? I don't know. Is this defense good enough to continue with this trend?
Yes,
They
absolutely.
I don't know about the pass rush.
I'm going
which
to
helps force turnovers.
I'm going to tell you that they are going to. That one thing I know is that Vic Fangio is not going to be deficient in pass rush.
Okay.
They won't be deficient.
So they will force turnovers this year. I agree with you that Jalen Hurts will not turn the ball over as much this year. He better not, because he was bad last year in terms of the turnovers.
Oh, no, he was bad.
I don't think he's as bad this year, and I think you have more playmakers defensively this year.
They were a turnover, more than a turnover a game worse than the year before.
That's horrible.
Yeah, they have one guy makes all the difference you need. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson can almost make this up by himself if he plays the way they didn't have guys on this team last year who were ball hawks, who went and got it. Sidney Brown might have been the best, and he barely played. Like, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson may get beat at some points. We talk about it with Trayvon Diggs, right, in Dallas, where is he good? I don't know, because he's jumping routes, but he creates turnovers.
Right.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a player that creates turnovers. The Eagles didn't have that. That'll be a difference in and of itself.
And the random factor.
The random
telling
factor
you
helps.
the
That's
random
good.
factor that when, and the thing is, though, it doesn't matter if they'll be a winning team this year, Andrew. It matters that the 2 years you look at in data, when it's a bigger than a 10-point swing in the negative in your favor, it's going to correct itself.
Okay.
I'm going to put the random factor in my back pocket for future explanations.
How about that? Is that 20-some%, 22% of turnovers in the NFL have nothing to do with player error, a mistake. It's just random.
The only thing I worry about is the pass rush, and I've been worried about it.
We should be worried
all
about
off season because let's face it. So 2 years ago, when they were plus, you said they were +8.
They were +8 in the Super Bowl season. They were -10 last year. So over 17 games, they were a turnover a game worse.
The year they were +8, they led the league in sacks. So quarterbacks knew that the pass rush was coming and they had to get rid of the football, and sometimes they made mistakes because of it. If a pass rush is not getting home, it is hard to be a cornerback in the league and just win the battle of the ball if the quarterback has time to throw. That's my one concern. I believe the numbers. I can't refute the numbers.
No, the numbers are there.
I just wonder, in terms of football guy here, because, I'm a football guy. I'm a football guy
I thought
now.
you were a baseball guy.
Whatever you want me to do. I'm 4 for 4, man. I wonder if this pass rush will be able to create the turnovers in order to continue this trend.
I think the secondary is going to be hugely improved, and that's where they'll come from. First of all, I think Quinyon Mitchell, you told me right now, bet on 3.5.
That's the number I was thinking.
That's it. If you told me, I think I'd bet over.
Okay.
And it's because I think he's going to get the playing time. Reed Blankenship has a nose for the ball.
He does.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson is only going to make that better because he's going to be the guy with more responsibility. He's pretty good at finding the ball that comes to him, too. I think it's going to be a greatly improved. That's the number we're going to look at come December and say, we feel much better about it, and Jalen Hurts is going to play considerably better.
Yeah, because
under Kellen Moore.
Last year's turnover differential was just horrible.
Unacceptable.
On both sides, not just Hurts. The defense did nothing.
But Hurts was terrible
when it came to the turnovers.
He had 9 more interceptions. That's terrible.
Yeah, that can't happen. All right, 610-632-0975, the number to text in, call in to talk about our topics and the trend that you just heard in the NFL, whether or not you buy it.
It's
and
good
obviously,
news, right?
it is good news. Like, we should celebrate that. Let's go to Jay in West Philly. Jay, what's up, man?
What's going on, y'all?
How you doing, brother?
Jay.
Look, this ain't one of the greatest things. Not yet. Not yet.
What do you mean not yet?
No, I don't think they above the 22 Eagles. And
Okay.
John, I got a question for you myself. But yeah, I don't think they better than the 22 Eagles.
And that's fair. I mean, as Connor said in the beginning of the show, that was the first team he thought of, that would rival this Phillies team. But I mean, there's not many. There's not many. They're up there, man.
Right, they were not more dominant than that, and that in turn go to you, Chilness.
What'd I do?
If they that good and that dominant, I want to save some of them prospects because there ain't too much that they got to add.
I'm always willing to get better, brother. I'm always willing to get better.
But look, that guy is not. He sound like Cassiano to me, the guy that you want to give up all these prospects for. The guy from Chicago.
Why does he sound like Castellanos?
Because he's streaky and he's injured and all that stuff.
Well, the injury thing is not. Castellanos is never hurt. Castellanos actually plays like all the time.
Yeah, he plays every single game.
Yeah, I would.
And John,
and
John, what was your? Because I missed the show yesterday. What was your big thing with Embiid or Harper? What would you say? Because I heard Bob talk about it.
I'm never going to look.
Exactly
I do not at this point. Now, at this point, when I think of both of their careers at the end of their careers, I'm not going to be moved by, wow, Joel Embiid won an MVP. I'm moved by Bedlam at the bank. I'm moved by actual moments where the player who is the great player leads my team somewhere. I've yet to see any of that from Joel Embiid.
Now, don't you think Harper had better players around him to get to where he was?
He has, but also he one thing I know about Bryce Harper, he's not going to be a no-show when I need him.
Oh,
Well, he
because
did.
you
He was last year. He was last year. He was last year.
You said that.
He wasn't. No, I do not believe he was a no-show.
John, in
No.
the NLCS, you've
No.
argued with me multiple times. Bryce Harper did nothing.
I didn't. That's different than a no-show. That's different
Did
than
nothing, and no-show
Well-
cannot be different.
Yes, it can be.
Oh, my
You show up for a Game 7 with no freaking heart. You show up with absolutely no energy, mopey, doing nothing. That's doing nothing. Bryce Harper's going to go down spitting nails, Connor. That's completely different.
You
That
fought
is completely
tooth and nail
different.
with me that he was a no-show in the
What
NLCS.
no
and
show.
now
no.
you're going to flip it.
What he accomplished was a 0 in Game 6 and Game 7.
Okay.
Completely. What he accomplished. I didn't see Bryce Harper literally mentally quitting, and that's exactly
All
what
right,
you
time.
saw.
Go to your corners. Go
Exactly
to your
what you saw.
Go to your spit buckets. I'll get you your towels. All right, we'll have the nice ring
Ridiculous
person walk around with the sign for round 2.
Who's going to do that,
Let's
Brendan?
do it. Come on, Brendan.
Yeah, Brendan will
No,
do
let's
it.
let Haley do that.
We'll get back to that conversation, but also coming up next, Jason Stark was on with the best show ever yesterday, and I'm going to play 2 clips for you, John, because I think he was talking directly to you.
Really?
It's Kincade
I love
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Trey Turner's on it. Thomas, this
Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. On this beautiful Friday morning. Coming up later this hour, I'm going to tell you about guys being dudes and how simply awesome we can be.
Hell yeah, brother.
And simple is the word that I am highlighting the most. How simply awesome we can be.
Simpletons.
I am a simpleton.
I don't
know about
I don't
you guys.
believe you are. See, I really don't believe you are.
Have you met him?
No,
Dude,
I really don't believe you
I
are.
eat cold food.
Yes, that's weird.
Just wake up. I come into work. I go home. I do not like.
But I don't think that makes you a simpleton.
Dude, it takes so little to put a smile on my face.
That's a good thing.
Yes, yeah. No, I am. I think my wife has the easiest job in the world to just here.
Wow.
Dude, if she gave me a glass of water, I'd be like, oh God, so nice. That's so nice of you. It doesn't take much to make me happy, man.
It's all you can drink now because of your stupid yellow Gatorade
true,
choice.
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's bad.
It doesn't take much, but I will tell you about how simply awesome guys can be.
Okay.
Based off of something I saw online yesterday. But I want to play these two clips for you. Jason Stark joined the best show ever yesterday, as he does every single week. And he is Hall of Famer, Jason Stark.
He's excellent.
A bright mind, Jason Stark is. And there are two clips that I saw in our audio folder that I feel like they were directed at you, John.
Really?
And you even said during the break he could have just texted you.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to take is it beef?
No, I don't think it's beef.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just two things that you may need to hear. Because you may disagree with Jason Stark.
He's a freaking Hall of Famer. I better tread carefully.
Hall of Famer.
Better tread carefully.
So let's first play this clip.
Okay, I'll be interested in this.
He says that, they clearly proved that they can match up with the Dodgers well, which they did. And this was before they completed the sweep yesterday. But there's a specific point in this clip. I even told Connor not to play it out loud during our pre-show meeting.
Right.
Because I didn't want you to hear it.
Okay.
Take a listen to Jason Stark.
Would you have any fear of the Phillies matching up with the Dodgers in a big series in October after what you've seen? I say that as a guy who has immense respect for the Dodgers, how good they are, what they're going to do at the deadline, and how much better I'm sure they'll look in October. I know the Dodgers starters in October will not be Bobby Miller, Gavin Stone, and Landon Mack. Watching it, that was one of those moments that said the Phillies feel like they have a plan for that team and that player, and they couldn't have more confidence in it. But the other thing that really jumped out at me, they did some things last night that just felt like the stuff that good teams do, that winning teams do. I had such a good view of Bryson Stott positioning himself for that throw from Whit Merrifield and Leff that creates that huge out at second base in the eighth. Stott hustling to beat that throw to first base that gets the insurance run in. Trey Turner calling time in the ninth inning and going to the mound because he used to play with Gavin Lux, so he wanted to make sure that was in Jeff Hoffman's game plan as he pitched to that guy. You just have players playing on this baseball team with off-the-charts baseball IQ, and it shows up in games like that.
Baseball IQ off the charts.
Okay, so that wasn't where you think Jason was talking to me.
No, that was the part. Because you have complained about the base running issues, and it doesn't matter till it matters kind of thing.
And I would disagree with him.
That's what I figured you would disagree with him.
Yeah, because a baseball IQ knows when to be, knows how to play and knows how to do the routine things well. They get picked off way too much. Like Schwarber the other night, trying to stretch a single into a double.
Oh yeah, that
was
dumb.
just
that
ridiculous.
That was dumb.
That's not.
But I don't think he's I don't think he's a dumb baseball player. Though.
I didn't say he's a dumb baseball player. What I'm saying is, if you're going to champion the IQ and how smart their IQ is, I could point to a laundry list of things that say to me, I think that they say IQ be damned. This is the way we play.
Well,
we play aggressive. We push things. We go with that. And so to me, that is a chance to be, sometimes it looks great. Sometimes it looks really, really dumb.
And that doesn't mean it's low IQ. They take calculated risks. And
not calculated.
Well, even the most calculated risk, if you throw the word risk in there, there is a chance it doesn't work out. Bryce Harper takes calculated risks. Now, his may be more aggressive than the next guy, but there is a process he goes through that thinks this is a good idea in some world. And you could disagree with it, but I do think that
I have said sometimes Bryce Harper has done dumb things.
Absolutely.
His base running is not smart.
He'll hit a base hit.
And it can pay off sometimes.
Right.
One
but it's
hopper to the
not
center
smart.
fielder and try to get,
Right,
try
it's
to get the
not
second
smart.
on it.
it's not always smart. But
No.
there are times where the other thing you got to consider is comparing them to other teams. We get very caught in the echo chamber of watching this Phillies team.
Right, because we're watching them night in, night out.
You should see some of the think about the triple play you turned against the
Which
Detroit
is
Tigers.
wild.
Yeah.
That was a line drive hit back to the pitcher and some idiots running from third base and just scoring.
Right, that
throwing
low,
his hands
that's
up.
low
Yeah, I gotta
IQ.
run. Like,
yeah.
the Phillies don't do that. Like, they make bad decisions in times, but more often than not, they're probably one of the smarter teams of baseball.
Yeah, I think that defensively, I've seen them make really, really smart IQ decisions.
Yes.
Like last night, Bryson Stott was so calm on catches the liner, takes his time, makes the decision, doubles him up off second.
Yeah.
He like a lot of guys, the ball's hit to them, and it is if they are fielding a live grenade. And I think that's where I see baseball IQ and intelligence, understanding the outs, understanding things like that. I don't think I think this is one of the dumber teams I've ever seen on the base paths. And I really do believe that because it's dumb. They make dumb and getting picked off all the time. It's just it's over aggressiveness and calculated risk. There's a risk when you're into the fourth deck or fifth deck of a shoe in blackjack. When you've been playing blackjack and they're down, you're 4 shoes in, 5 shoes into the 6 shoe deck, and they're just about to reshuffle. Hitting on 15 when you're up against a 10 or a 16, which you have to do, it still is. There's a calculated risk you can take. There's not a calculated risk that says, Kyle Schwarber, try to make that into a double.
Yeah, that was dumb.
That was
That's just
stupid.
over
That was
regret.
dumb.
Yeah,
Like,
but this happens. That happens with this team.
Yeah, but John, you know
minimum
what?
once a week, if not twice a week.
Yeah, but John, you know what happens more often than not where it actually works out for them, which is why they're 61 and 32.
I don't think that's why they're 61
I
and
think
32,
there are
honestly.
plays. Look, and I think this is natural. I don't think this is a you thing. I think this is natural. When a guy, how many times have you seen the, oh, no, don't do that. Oh, good play.
Everybody does that. Yeah, and I'm believing.
But I think it
believe me.
works out in the Phillies' favor more often than it ends up costing them. And that's why you're 61 and 32.
I would agree with you on that. That more often than not. But again, things don't. Again, the sloppy defense at times, sloppy base running, poor decision making. It doesn't matter till it matters, and it matters in postseason games and things like that. That people are like, it doesn't matter. It's just a nah. When the games are 3-2, 4-3, it matters.
Now,
much
I will
more.
say, this is an honest question. Other than the Harper double play against the Braves in the playoff game, which was horrible. Is there another moment that sticks out?
Nah.
I'm trying to think of the Game 5 play with Marsh in the first inning of Game 5 after the no-hitter.
In the World Series.
In the World Series, there was a play by Brandon Marsh in the very first inning.
In the field.
Which was horrendous.
You thought he was going to make the catch, and then
right.
he slowed up on it.
And
okay.
it was like there's decision making, but in big games it happens. There's the idea of that when defense, like people will go, the defense is fine. They're fine. Defense is fine. And then when you don't make plays. Last night, Rojas shows you again.
That was great.
Yeah. But has defense hurt him in the postseason?
No defense. No, that's
I really don't think defense has hurt him in the playoffs. I know exactly what play you're talking about.
No defense makes
because Chaz McCormick made that catch.
I will say
later that series.
Trey Turner defensively had that one last year where he didn't make a play
against
on
the
cutoff
Diamondbacks.
Against the
Diamondbacks, wasn't it?
Was it? I thought it was against the Braves, but
it might have been. It might have been in that one.
But that's the thing. We're finding like one-off.
Yeah, but the thing is, in playoffs, the games are literally determined by the one-off plays sometimes.
Games,
and those kind of decisions.
Not always the series.
Like when people will tell me, Brandon Marsh is, man, like in center field. No, Brandon Marsh is great in left.
Yeah,
love it.
Johan
Absolutely
Rojas
love
is
it.
better.
Johan Rojas is just
and
such
you didn't have Johan Rojas in 2022.
Right. He's a freaking force.
Brandon Marsh
right
was
now.
your best center fielder in 2022.
I would say this. The one thing I would go, though, is that one thing you would trust. I trust Rob Thompson is an excellent manager of people. Excellent. Do I trust Rob Thompson?
You just set up the next clip. Take a listen.
I want you to think of all the managers who have managed in this town and every town, and all the coaches who have coached in this town and every town. Do they get every decision right? It's not possible because human beings play the games. And we've talked about that decision several times.
Yep.
I think you've seen that in the postseason, Rob manages his bullpen really aggressively. Going to Alvarado, as dominating as he was back then, it was different. It was aggressive. It might have been a touch of over-managing, but I think they talked about that before that moment happened. And it wasn't just the manager deciding, hey, let's see what Alvarado can do here. They had targeted Alvarado against Jordan at some point in the late innings. That felt like the moment to him, so he pushed that button. Do people ever forgive any managerial or coaching mistake? Because if they don't, then they all stink.
Well, I mean, I saw the Phillies lose a World Series in '93, and whether they would have won Game 7, I'll never know.
Right.
I saw Jim Fregosi absolutely mismanage his bullpen.
And you felt it at the time, or you told the story.
And I believe that the same exact thing happened with Rob Thompson, and I believe 2 years in a row. I think last year against the Diamondbacks, he absolutely, I don't know what the hell he was doing with Craig Kimbrell and his decision-making with Kimbrell. And I don't know what he was doing where he's going to his best arms. Well, my best arm, I'll use it early. And then in the end, you're having to leave games to people.
And unfortunately,
I don't like that.
I think the Christopher Sanchez decision was upstairs.
Oh, no, I believe that too.
And that sucks.
And because it reflects on Rob. It does. I agree with you.
And that was not Rob Thompson's doing.
To me, Rob Thompson, spectacular manager of people, great feel for everything. But during a game, I don't think he has great feel.
Oh, dude, I think he does.
I really don't.
You and I will disagree with that wholeheartedly. We'll continue that conversation. Also, coming up next, guys being dudes and how awesome it is sometimes. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade and Salciunas, weekday morning 6 to 10. Conversations that will
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Coming up, we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas at 8:05. And in the 8 o'clock hour, I'm going to tell you how you can win FanFest tickets. This is something that we don't typically do. We don't have, like, the people call in and give an answer
Tell us your
and get
favorite
FanFest
color,
tickets and all
we'll
this kind
give
of stuff.
FanFest tickets.
But, John, 1 week from today, NCAA 25 releases, man.
I know too many people that are too crazily obsessed with what's going on.
You got two of us right here with you.
Now,
so,
you pre-ordered or not?
I will be doing it this weekend because today's payday.
So you will you'll put in the pre-order.
Yeah,
Nah,
because
I don't pre-order.
then it downloads overnight.
Right,
and
so it's there
that the
when you
next
go, right.
day, because I don't do the disc anymore. I just download it right onto the system. So I will be pre-ordering it tonight because today was payday. I had the trip in Europe, so I wanted to wait until I got paid before I did that. So I'm very excited to download it or pre-download it tonight. But 1 week from today is NCAA 25, so we'll have some fun with you during the 8 o'clock hour for your chance to win FanFest tickets during the rest of the show. With
Over under first day, 5.5 hours playing.
It's a Friday.
Correct.
Oh, take the over.
Over because Cooper's at daycare on Friday. So if I'm home
So you gonna leave your kid at daycare to play video games?
Hell yeah, man. That's my time, John. My time.
This is new age parenting, folks. I think.
No, he's learning.
What?
He lay there, learns wheels on the bus go round and round. Like he's learning while he's out there. All right, and
I can learn that with you.
And I'm running.
You're saying warm up the bus.
And I'm learning how to run the wishbone with the Temple offense. All right, like come on, brother, we're all learning. All right, so I want to tell you about something really cool that I saw. Crossing Broad tweeted this out yesterday, and it's just guys being dudes.
Okay.
And how simple we can be. And you know what? This is a story of good faith, I would say. Because normally, I think people's first reaction is to clown somebody or to just completely move away from the situation or to rip the guy, you name it. So, somebody gets a text. Hey, who is this? Question mark. And then somebody responds
New
with,
phone, who dis?
This is Jerome. Who's this? And Jerome followed up by saying, Shorty probably gave me the wrong number. So I'm guessing Jerome called this person thinking it was a girl's number that he got at a bar or something.
Correct.
So he gives the person the call, no reply. Then the person texts, hey, who is this? And then Jerome says, oh, Shorty probably gave me the wrong number.
And it probably was a wrong. Are you assuming it probably was a wrong number?
Maybe.
Because
Yeah.
I don't think any woman is giving out a home number if she's sharing the space with another man that she's trying to run around on.
No, I think this is just,
So it's just an
so
error
girl
of number.
gave a
A
chose
fake-
to
a
give
fake number. Or
Or
something,
she
yeah.
did the Elaine Bennis.
fake,
Happens to the best of
fake
us.
number. It happens.
Connor's got a ton of the stories to tell us.
So the person then replies, yeah, man, I'm sorry. I think she did. And then Jerome goes, is this a man? Like, am I texting a man right now?
Jeez. Okay, this is weird.
To which this random man replies, it is. And then instead of clowning the guy or ending the conversation or ripping the guy or even just saying, I'm sorry, this random person texts, so did you watch the Sixers Summer League game last night?
What?
Love it.
And Jerome, the guy who thought he had a girl's number, replies with, I did, bro. Jared McCain's going crazy. And then they start talking about the Sixers. These two random people. Jerome thinks he's texting a girl he picked up at a bar.
No, he didn't pick her up.
He thought. He is now texting this random stranger, and they end up talking Sixers basketball with one another. And I think that is absolutely beautiful.
Or is there a chance that he thinks that that his woman is running around on him and he wants to figure out
It's not his girl.
anything about
It's
it?
not his
Nah,
girl.
he just got a number at
He
a
just got
bar.
a number.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I'm just,
It's as if Connor goes to garage.
no, the other guy that is being texted, is he
Well,
interested?
he might not have a girl at all.
Could be.
Yeah,
you
I
don't
think
know
they're
that.
I think they're
I
now
think
just
Well, it
guys
sounds
being
like the
dudes.
fact that this has happened is
I think
they may both be
I
the
think
young
you're
and the
thinking
dateless.
2 days of the lives
Right.
with this.
No, this is young and the dateless.
No, this is just a normal. Hey,
no.
wrong number. But
That's
instead
not
of
normal.
saying wrong number and ending it, it was,
That's
hey, what do
very-
you think
that's
about the
very
six?
normal.
This is
very
not normal. No, it would not be normal that somebody would strike up a conversation with somebody that is
that's
no,
not normal,
that is
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
The wrong number is normal.
The wrong number is definitely normal as far as I don't understand people getting there. You just get you got to figure out call immediately. If someone gave you their number, call them immediately.
Yeah, but then it's awkward.
Yeah,
then
if
you
they
know.
did
No,
this.
but then you know immediately that it's okay. This is a scam, or this is it. Just call. Hey, I'll call right now, so you have my number in your phone.
Bro, it's a good thing you're married.
Yeah, seriously. But
I said I navigated the world, Connor, when guys actually had to talk to women. You actually had to walk
Yeah.
up to a woman,
Listen, man.
introduce yourself,
Bro.
had some game.
sorry
talk to
for
them.
your troubled times.
I would have killed before Google. Do you know how many people
Before-
I would have been a billionaire to?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, don't look it up.
I can only
You
imagine.
can't.
but I thought that was cool.
That's
yes.
That is
awesome,
a
dude.
cool. That's a cool story. Now, if we should have them over.
Actually,
We should have them over for a
Yes,
little Sixers
Jerome,
talk
come on
sometime.
in.
I'm going to ask this. If there are any girls out there that don't want to give a guy at the bar their number, you want to give them a fake number, 610-632-0975.
And then we'll be
There it
there
is.
Text
for 'em.
me in the mornings. I'll text you about the Sixers. We'll read it on air.
talk.
We'll
If I'm-
have a convo.
I might have to. I would have to confirm, but I believe back in the day, I think my wife had a fake number that she already knew.
That she knew just to give out.
That she knew. Like, so I saw the Elaine Bennis thing from Seinfeld. Not a nice thing to do. Because I'm a man. That was from that episode. Yes.
Listen,
There it is.
man. So she was ready. She was prepared.
Be ready.
All right, coming up next, we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas. And I will tell you how you can win FanFest tickets because NCAA 25 drops 1 week from today. I want you to start thinking about this now. This is how you're going to win. And it's simple. It's just
Okay.
I'm not asking you to do trivia or anything. What's the last thing you truly were looking forward to? And I would say vacation aside, but if vacation's your answer, go for it. But something that like when this dropped, when we found out the release date, people had this circled on their calendar. I think people have already put in for vacation time for next Friday. When is the last time you truly looked forward to something like this? You give us an answer, you win FanFest tickets. All you got to do is call 610-632-0975 and reset the entire show. We get more questions out of the hat, today's headlines, and your chance to win FanFest tickets ahead right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils break out the
tripping to work on this Payday Fanatic Friday.
Oh, payday.
Payday, which is why I will be pre-ordering, NCAA 25 today. If you call in at 610-632-0975 and answer this question along with our sports topics today, what is the last thing you looked forward to that you invested money in or that you knew you would invest money in or time in, and the day is finally coming? Would love to get some answers, because that you could give me a million different answers, because we always look forward to different things, and I'll get your answers coming up in a few minutes after we do today's headlines. But first, let's get a couple of texts on today's topics, Connor. We opened up the show talking about the Philadelphia Phillies after they swept the Dodgers. Is this one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? Now, I got a tweet from Pratik, 2 Brown 1 Mamba 5 on Twitter. Have you addressed that Betts, Muncy, Kershaw, Buehler, Yamamoto, Glasnow are all hurt? Just curious with this narrative approach. To which I responded with, come on, bro. The Phillies were just without Harper, Real Muto, and Schwarber.
And 6 weeks without Trey Turner.
And they went 4-3 during that stretch. They were spectacular without Trey Turner.
Right.
They kept on winning baseball games. And then he responded with, well, in this series, Harper played 2 of 3, Schwarber played 3 of 3. Just asking, though, don't you think this series is a little different if the rotation was Glasnow, Stone, Yamamoto? Yeah, it would be probably a little bit different. They probably wouldn't have won 10-1 in Game 1, but I still expect the Phillies to win baseball games. So instead of sweeping the Dodgers, maybe they take 2 of 3. And if they took 2 of 3 instead of sweeping the Dodgers, they'd be 60-33. And that's still one of the greatest teams in Phillies history, in my lifetime, and in all of sports, not just baseball.
Harper, Schwarber, Real Muto out for the Braves series. Are we supposed to say that doesn't matter? I mean, like, what is it? Is that, look, the Phillies had chances to win 2 of the 3 games. They won 1 of them. Mm-hmm. And the other game they had a chance to win, had plenty of opportunities with men on base and everything, and they just kept not making it happen.
Yeah. Like, I get what he's saying.
I get it, but that's crazy.
I get what he's saying, but by the way, they still have Ohtani. Yes. They still have Freddie Freeman.
What did Ohtani do?
They still have Will Smith. They kept them at bay.
What did Ohtani and Freddie Freeman do in this series? Minimal damage, and Freddie Freeman was as anonymous as Freddie Freeman will ever be at any time.
Absolutely. And we've seen him be a Phillies killer in the past.
I don't think it was Freddie Freeman he has a discerning view of the strike zone. They pitched him beautifully.
Yeah, they did.
They pitched Ohtani beautifully.
All right, Connor, give us a text before we get to today's headline.
Jamal in West Philly checks in. He says, I'm imagining this is in response to the catch in the 7th inning last night. Rojas stays in the starting lineup. That's it. If not, Rob or Dave owes me a fair one with the boxing glove emojis. That was an amazing catch last night.
It's an incredible catch.
And more importantly, defense matters. It matters. And we have no center fielder on this team that makes that play but one. None of them. But
I
one.
don't have him off the roster.
He's got to be on. He has to pencil him in, bat him at the bottom of the lineup, and he is doing everything that they asked him to do. What they said in spring training. Well, if we could get him to hit 230, that'd be great.
Yep.
With that kind of defense. And you saw the crowd last night.
The crowd
was
amazing yesterday.
The crowd voted with their approval.
Well,
they know what they think.
Well, I mean, a reaction to a catch does not mean.
No, but the crowd every time Rojas does something, the crowd goes berserk. And they love Marsh. Put Marsh in right field.
Crowd loves Stubbs.
Put Marsh in right field.
Crowd loves Stubbs. If Connor Thomas hit a home run, the crowd would love Connor Thomas.
I'm going to tell you, crowd loves Marchand.
Yes.
Are you trying to insinuate the crowd doesn't already love Connor Thomas?
They do love Connor
we'll
Thomas. Speaking of, it's time for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
All right, Connor, what do we got?
You win the crowd, you win your freedom, baby. Gladiator 2 coming out.
Wow.
Soon. Anyway, we've got, speaking of Johan Rojas, I picked that text for a reason. We're going to talk about something that he had to say after the game. Now, this is through the Phillies translator, Diego. And Rojas is feeling himself a little bit. It sounds like the Phillies are feeling themselves a little bit, too, with how they match up with other teams. The question was kind of, how do you feel about your performance against the Dodgers and playing teams like this? Here was his response.
We don't care who's coming. We don't care who we're playing. We're just going to beat them. Anyone can come here, and they're going to end up losing the games or the series. And same with the goal that we have for the World Series. We'll go out and win it. We're hungry to win, and that's what we're here for, and that's what we're going to do.
Anyone can get it.
Anyone can get it.
I love it.
Is it
love
too
it.
much
Can
from Rojas?
I just say this?
What's that?
And look, I don't think he's wrong because this team is the best team in baseball. Why does it always have to be a backup or not one of the stars? Paul Reed spoke, Garrett Stubbs opened up his mouth, and now Rojas?
No, but Rojas didn't call out.
No, I know.
Well, Rojas just made a statement, which I think is great. If Rojas did that before a playoff series, I'd have an issue.
Then you'd have a problem.
I'd have an issue with it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't need it. Stubbs.
I had no problem with that quote.
Stubbs should have a baseball sock in his mouth for the entire postseason.
You want them to tie-
From the
you
night
want them to tie
from the
him up?
night that they celebrate, just put a giant baseball sock in his mouth, and then maybe
No, you
some
know what?
tape.
Have him caged up, Stubbs, and then whenever they win a series, just let him go loose.
Right.
Like a rabid dog. Just let him go nuts, spraying the beer everywhere, and then you wrestle him back up, you put him back in the cage until this next series
Yes,
ends.
and if Stubbs is the backup catcher on this team in the spring, we know that there are pictures of somebody.
Yeah, it's not
Pictures of somebody. There's blackmail going on.
All right, what's next there, Connor?
All right, the next one, you guys, I'm sure, saw it with the game last night. A lot of people did. But if not, there was a situation with Kyle Schwarber's home run. An absolute bomb. Made it into the second deck. Didn't end up in the second deck because a father and his family were at the game, and he did not make the catch. A little kid wearing a Schwarber's jersey is crying on the telecast and everything. Now, the Phillies did a great job, and Usher brought them a baseball. The kid ended up getting the ball. But your thoughts on the situation? Because I've heard dad should have caught it. I've heard kid should have been more grateful.
Hold on a second.
Your thoughts?
Whoever said dad should have caught it. Look, I know he was on his
John
phone.
Kruk, by the way.
I'm sitting right here.
Said he should have had it because he had his hand on the ball.
I'm going to use a term that's a little vulgar, but it is a baseball term. Kyle Schwarber hit a piss missile to the second deck.
It got out so fast.
Come on.
Okay.
It's so easy to say, oh, guy should have caught it. When he hit a rocket off the bat.
He gets his hand on it with one hand, the other hand in his freaking phone. A father with his two young kids at the game can't get his head out of his freaking phone.
That I have a problem with.
And John Kruk said it again last night. Put your damn phone down. You're at the game with your kids.
But I will say this, even two hands.
To catch that'd be crazy. All right, now here's another one, though.
Got to make that play.
The ball gets dropped.
You're not making that play.
The ball gets dropped into the next level. He drops it down to the next level, bounces off the man next to him, and then goes down. And then the kid proceeds to hit his father. I'm telling you this much, that would have been the last pitch I saw at the game if I had ever hit my father at a baseball game.
That's what my parents used to do when I dropped the fly ball.
I'm going to tell you this much.
I'm kidding.
That was you're hitting your father that would have been the last pitch I ever saw at that game, I can promise you.
I will say this. The kid was wearing a Schwarber jersey. Did you realize?
Okay, I know.
I know. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying he was clearly very, very upset that the jersey of the player that he was wearing hits a home run to his dad and it drops, and clearly he was very upset by it.
Dad was wearing a Harper shirt I've never seen before.
It was cool.
It was his Harper's face just all over.
It was cool. It was a cool
this Philly shirt. Really cool shirt. But I'll tell you this: if I had ever hit my father, I would not have been seeing another pitch of that game. I guarantee.
If I spoke to my father a certain way, and tell you guys a story off the air.
Oh yes. Oh no, and he wouldn't have cared if there was 40,000 people in that building.
Oh.
He would not have cared.
Yeah, he didn't care that my high school baseball teammates were.
Oh, I love
there.
that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm liking my adopted dad even
better.
It's
your adopted dad. That's right. Yeah. All right, what's next?
All right, last one. We got a question from the hat since it is a Friday in lieu of a replay. This question here. Which Fanatic host is most like their 21-year-old self? Connor and Silvana excluded is the character.
That was my question.
Which Fanatic host?
So most like their 21-year-old self today.
How do I get excluded from the guy sitting next to you that's like a month older than me?
Because you're single.
I am nowhere near where I was when I was 20.
Most like their 21-year-old self.
I'm going to tell you the question.
Ray Dunn.
But Ray's too young. He's in that young barricade. As far as I'm telling you right now, Ray's what, 23? I mean, you can't do Ray. To me, and I really believe this, I think it's Ricky Pitalico.
Of course it is.
That was my.
I think it's Ricky.
That was my answer.
And you know what would have been my second answer? Would never be yours. I think Bob.
Yeah, I can see that
I think Bob is one of the Bob's just consistent.
Right.
Like Bob is who Bob is, and I think Bob was that guy in junior high, that guy in whatever. I think as far as most like their 21-year-old self.
Ricky would be dumb to not be his 21-year-old self. Like, the guy played professional baseball.
Right.
And then talked professional sport. Like, that's what he's... I'm not trying to say, like, Ricky hasn't worked hard. Like, that's harder than most people work.
Yeah.
But he's also not a cement head.
Yeah, he
wasn't one of those cement head baseball players.
No, but he's had, like, a childhood-type career. That's awesome.
It's amazing. It's what everybody dreams to do. Yeah, so I think Ricky would be the answer.
I've heard him on the best show ever, too. He's still very childlike.
No, yeah, absolutely.
He's childlike on a daily basis.
Yeah, he's childlike off the air, too. I love it.
Very similar. He's very, I don't think Ricky is aged.
No.
I think he's just the same guy.
No, it is not me, though.
It's not you.
Yeah.
I was not necessarily heading in the right direction when I was 21.
And the weird thing is our birthdays are a few days apart. I absolutely am nothing like
I got the gig here, and I told myself it's time to kick it in the gear, dude.
See, I love that.
And here I am.
Look.
10 years later.
Love that.
But, man, I'm glad I slowed down a little bit. Is all I'll say.
You think Tyrone's much different? I don't know Ty well enough to speak in any kind of confidence.
I've known Tyrone for years now, and he's never himself changed.
No, he's a man of principle. I feel like the way he conducts himself is the way he's always conducted himself.
Like, who I am today is different who I was 2 years ago. I mean, obviously, fatherhood's a big
but
life
also,
change.
Like, if you ask Ty and Ricky and Bob, they would probably say they're different than they were at 21. Like, internal perspective is different than external, so it all depends on how you're looking at it.
Okay, all right.
You
Great
think
job.
Amy? I can't. I don't know Amy well enough to speak in confidence.
Amy rolls in tie-dye shirts and is always happy and is always like
All I'm saying,
fun-loving. I think she's the same.
I saw that MD 2020 after they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right? Saying.
See it?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
There might still be some party left in there. All right?
Good for her.
I got some
and
party.
a change of clothes, right? And like they always
did the change of clothes.
They did change of
and everything.
clothes
we
and
have fun
everything.
people at this station.
Damn right we do. Look, we're
Good
all
people.
I would say fun and all weird, and that's why we are able
no
to
question.
that's why we're able to do this for a living.
Oh, it's weird.
All right, what is the last thing that you truly looked forward to? So, if you want to win a pair of FanFest tickets, obviously come on the show with the Phillies discussion, whether or not this is the greatest team in Philadelphia sports history or in your lifetime. When it comes to Daryl Morey, do you have trust in him now that he has literally backed up what his plan was, and he has now come through with it, even though we still have to watch them play and perform. But so far, the plan was to open up the pockets, get the players that he had on his radar, and he has since backed it up. But I want to have some fun with this on this, feel-good Fanatic Friday.
We're using every F-bomb you can.
Damn right, man. What is the last thing that you truly looked forward to? And I do this because 1 week from today, NCAA 25 drops. We will have some fun with this next week when it does drop, but I can't freaking wait for it. I know a lot of people that can't wait for it, whether you are a everyday gamer or you haven't played since NCAA 14 came out. John, what is the last thing you truly, truly looked forward to?
Last December, after being locked in the house for like 7 months, right after I finished my cancer treatments, the dad-daughter Eagles game.
Oh, yeah.
Is always one of my favorite things, and we had to pick it that it was December. And then we picked it for December before I knew I had cancer. And Dr. Sprandio told me, okay, if you do all these things right and you do all these things right, you can go to that game. You got to be careful, but you can go to that game. It was the first time I was out in public in forever, and it was the most amazing day. Even though the game sucked, and it was the downfall of that 10-1 season.
Yeah.
It was the hanging out with Liv and having our dad-daughter date annual game.
Being at the
was
link.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She chose the Dallas game this year.
Okay.
So Dallas game this year, which is like 5 days after she turns 21.
Yeah, it's
so she can actually tailgate.
Oh, that's nice.
Like for the first time in her
legally.
life, legally tailgate.
Yeah.
She's gonna have her first drink.
Before.
She's gonna have her first drink.
Oh wow! Congratulations
Sure
on that first sip of alcohol.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's a great answer. You would win a pair of FanFest tickets.
That's good. I'm gonna be there. I'm looking forward to it.
Honor?
Mine would be my brother's bachelor party for a couple reasons. Not just for that. That was the first time that I had paid vacation in my career here at the Fanatic.
That's cool.
I've been here for 5 years. So that was the first time that I actually.
That's awesome.
And it was also like my first real kind of vacation with all my boys that I've taken since, I don't know, we were 21, 22. It was a really, really good time.
That's awesome. An awesome answer, but I like it because of he's going, I'm getting paid to go on vacation.
Yeah, dude, that's a big part of it.
I did it. So from 21 to like 23, when I first started selling mortgages, I got regular vacation. And then when you start here, you got to make your way up. Right. You got to make your bones, prove yourself. And I went 5 years without taking one. So it was awesome.
That's a great answer.
I know the feeling. That's a great answer. All right, so if you have an answer, you can text in, call in. If you want FanFest tickets, we would appreciate the call in at 610-632-0975. Again, this stems off of NCAA 25 coming out 1 week from today. Would you, John, I'm going to just take a wild guess. That you do not have an Xbox or a PS5.
We had one in the house because of Liv, but that's it.
Do you still have one?
We do not.
All right, so you're not.
She has one at college.
So you're probably not going to play it unless it's literally in front of you.
I would not play it unless I got invited in to play it in, like, hey, Dad, you want to screw around and see what this is about?
Right.
Never a early gamer, as you can tell with the snow on the roof. We had the Intellivision, the Atari, things like that when we were kids. It was terrible. I remember my buddy Joe having the Intellivision baseball.
That's awesome.
And playing endless Intellivision baseball back in the day. Rudimentary compared to what the kids have.
I will, if the job's yours if you want it. You can be the athletic director of my Temple football team.
Oh, I'd like to be the AD.
You'll be the AD?
I'll be the AD. Now, do I get? Am I doing the NIL deals?
Yeah, we'll talk. Well, we'll have to have some meetings.
Okay, because we can get them all in here. I get the bagster.
Yeah. So you. That's right. We got a lot of connections. Window Nation.
I don't know. I think Window Nation's getting the star quarterback because Window Nation already has Jalen Hurts. So our star quarterback, when we get one,
that's good.
And
Jalen could maybe be a part of the recruiting trail.
Correct. I'll text Jalen, and I'll get him involved in it. If the Secret Service doesn't come after me.
I'm just going to pick LSU and beat your guys' brakes in.
Well, there's no fun in that.
There's no fun in doing that,
man.
I like to win.
I'm building my program, damn it.
I like it.
TU, baby.
When I play MLB The Show,
you just don't have a program to build, do you?
I set it so it only throws fastball down the middle, and I hit like 200 home runs every season. And I'll play hours of that.
Are we allowed to cut corners?
Of course.
As an athletic program, can we cut some corners?
Well,
as your AD?
Doesn't every corrupt college have cut corners?
We're cutting corners, and I don't give a damn. I'm bringing in the bulldozers, and we're getting it on campus stadium.
Okay, that sounds good.
Which I've heard people over the years argue to me, it would ruin the neighborhood. And I just want. I think like I'm on a sitcom. Where I'm like, really? It's going to ruin the neighborhood?
They need the stadium.
Let's do a 35,000-seat stadium.
Let's go to Mike and Delran. Michael, good morning.
Hi, Mikey.
Oh, what's up? Good morning.
What's up, dude?
Good, buddy.
Hey, listen, I got a few extra things, so I'm going to ask in advance for a few extra seconds before I get zapped, if that's cool.
All right.
First of all, that story about the wrong number does not pass the sniff test, because in this day and age, when you give somebody a number, you put it in your phone, you call them so they have your number. I don't believe that at all.
I don't agree with you,
true at all.
Mike, I agree with you.
I know.
99% of the time, if someone is doing it to me or I'm doing it to them,
you guys are both married
immediately
with kids.
do that.
As a 29-year-old, it 100% happens.
I don't agree with you at all, Mike.
Hey, listen, I do stand-up. I get numbers now, Connor. Come on, man.
I respect recognized game.
Yeah, but now, on the same token, a couple weeks ago, I set up a bunch of group texts. I was hosting a poker tournament, right? And I had a wrong number, somebody's old number. They told me, sorry, wrong number, but good luck on the tournament. Wish I was playing. I said, well, we start at 7 if you can get to Delran by 7. And they ended up coming.
That's awesome, see?
That is crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So I feel like a hypocrite telling a story that could be picked apart. Like I just picked that other guy's apart. But it was cool. Dude, this is the best Phillies. This is the best Philadelphia sports team I've ever seen. 43 years old.
That's what Mike.
And I don't even. Not an argument.
I said it. I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so. Best Philadelphia sports team. I don't have to keep it to Phillies.
No, Philadelphia sports team. Yeah, I agree. And but with that, on the flip side, it means if they do not win the World Series, it's going to be the biggest disappointment also. And then the one thing I've always looked forward to, dude, the biggest thing I ever looked forward to, my first time, I went to Vegas in 2013. A buddy of mine organized this trip, man. We had VIP, we had first class airfare. We had shirts made. I went out there with $8,000. I was there from Thursday night to Sunday morning. I came home with $220 in a tattoo.
Oh my God!
And I always think about, because unfortunately my friend, he had passed away since then. So it's just one of the things I always think about. I love it.
What kind of T-shirts for a guy's trip? You all had the same T-shirt?
Yeah. So here's what it did. It said "Breaking Bickford's Cherry." 2013. It had like poker cards. And,
good. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that, Michael. All right, listen, man. We got to run. All right, I'll put you on hold for your Fan Fest tickets. You can call in 610-632-0975. Last thing you truly looked forward to in honor of NCAA 25 coming out next week. Coming up next, we get more of your texts, we get more of your calls, but I want to do a little exercise with you guys. Write these down during the break. Who will be the Eagle that surprises us in a positive way, plays as expected, which could be good or bad, and disappoints us? I want all three of those answers coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. I hope you're enjoying your Fanatic Friday. I got a tweet. Somebody thanked me for wishing everybody a safe trip into work.
I
do it every day at 8
for
o'clock.
people.
I want people to drive safely, man.
I do too. I'm going to be out on the roads today, and I want
you to
a
drive
lot of safe
safely.
drivers out there.
You got the long trip today, so make sure you drive safely.
208 miles? That doesn't, that to me is almost like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, it's still longer than your trip home.
As far as that.
No, it's a road, it's a bit of a road trip.
I've never been to Front Royal, Virginia before.
Well, I'm
anxious to see it.
You enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it's be fun.
All right, so I left you guys with a little task before we went to break, and I will participate as well. I thought about this morning when I was driving in. Just something that we can, do during the segment, and it's Eagles talk, Eagles related. Who will be the Eagle that surprises us in a positive way? Who will be the Eagle that plays as expected? And that could be good or bad. And then who is the Eagle that you believe will disappoint us in the 2024-25 season? Johnny, I will start with you.
Okay. Which one do you want? Do you want the surprise?
But you know what?
Want the,
bad news first. Let's go with the disappoints us first. Who do you believe will be the Eagle that disappoints us?
I feel terrible about this because I want the guy to succeed, and he tends to be the same in his production all the time. Josh Sweat. I don't think Josh Sweat is going to take the step up that we expect, but I do believe that others will.
Okay.
So, but I think Josh Sweat will be the one that we look at and go, now he's sort of getting exposed. He has always benefited by playing with better players around him.
And it's funny, I have him as an answer, but as expected.
As expected. Okay.
Because I've never thought highly of Josh Sweat. Now, look, if he goes out there and gets you 7 sacks, you go, all right, I'll take it. I think there were a lot of people that thought Josh Sweat would eventually be this double-digit perennial sack guy year in, year out. He was great 2 years ago, as was the entire defensive line.
Correct.
Last year, when they did not have the same bullets on the defensive line and he needed to play more, he was not as effective. So I have him as plays as expected, head scratching, disappears in games, but might have a game here or there where you go, all right, he made a game-defying play like he did against the Cowboys. Remember the first Cowboys game?
Yeah.
He had that big sack on Dak Prescott.
A huge play.
That eventually won them the game. So there are moments that come of Josh Sweat. I just don't see him as a guy that I can depend on for 17 games in the regular season.
I think you're smart to have that expectation.
But,
good player, not great.
Yeah.
Well, we both had him on the. Strangely, though, we both had him on the
list. So I'll give you my disappointing one after Connor does.
So I went to the other side. Bryce Huff.
Dude, that's who I have.
That's exactly the guy that it should be. And I think part of it is not going to be Bryce Huff's fault. I think for what we should expect from Bryce Huff, he can probably get close to delivering that. The biggest question is, can he step into a role where he's heavier used?
Right.
And that's a lot of people are asking him to do a lot. I don't know that he's capable of that. So that might be your biggest risk on this team is Bryce Huff in a position where he's got to be an every down player. And also, it's not fair, but he's going to be compared not only to Hassan Reddick, the player, but Hassan Reddick, the local kid that had went to Temple that everybody wanted here, that we were so excited to have back, that was impactful, it seemed. Every time he had a sack, it wasn't like we're up 30, you're just getting home. No, they felt like big-time sacks. So he may be in the toughest spot of anybody on this team.
Dude, I completely agree with you.
You're thoughtful.
That was my answer as well. And he might still finish with 9 sacks.
Exactly.
But 2 years ago, Hassan Reddick had 16. He had 5 forced fumbles, and he played a ton of snaps. Last year, in a down year, finished with 11 sacks. He had 27 sacks over the last 2 seasons. I don't know if Bryce Huff will be as impactful as Hassan Reddick, but he's being paid to be.
Okay.
And that's why he might still have a good year, but a good year might still be disappointing. I'm not saying that I think Bryce Huff is going to be a disappointment because he sucks. No, I think he's just not going to be Hassan Reddick, and he has been brought in to replace Hassan Reddick and was paid to be. It's not like they brought in Chris Long at the end of his career to try to replace Hassan Reddick. No, you brought in a young pass rusher who got paid a lot of money, and I don't know if he's going to reach the same level as Hassan Reddick. So it's interesting that you and I have the same answer, but you and I have the same player. So I have Bryce Huff as the disappointment, Josh Sweat as the player who will play as expected, and that could be good or bad. John, who is the player that you believe will play as expected in 2024-25?
Cam Jurgens, because I don't think expectations are too overly high. I don't think he is going to be – I don't think people are understand enough of what the center does, and I count myself amongst them. I don't think he is going to be a glaring problem. I don't think he's going to be this breakout star either. I'm expecting basic, responsible, good, solid play, and I think we're going to get it.
I like that.
That's what I'm expecting.
I think that's a good answer. I do.
Okay.
Connor, yours?
Oh, easy one for me. It's Saquon. Dude, he's as good as everyone thinks he is. He's going to be as good as everyone thinks he is. This dude is a monster. He is exactly what you believe you're getting. Like, he expected is a very positive thing for him because we all believe he's going to be great. But this ain't DeMarco Murray. This ain't like dream team type of, just get guys and see how. He's unbelievable. Everyone freaked out when we got him. They should have. Saquon's going to play as expected.
Okay.
Okay, that's a really good one, too, because you think star quality. We all have high expectations of him.
Right.
And with me, with Jurgens, it's
right.
I'm expecting a solid player.
I knew we will all give somewhat of different answers in this conversation.
Where'd you go on this?
I went Josh Sweat.
Okay.
As
We
expected.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
As expected.
Lastly, the player that will surprise us in a positive way. And again, if you have answers on this, you can text in, call in 610-632-0975. We've been very busy today, so I apologize that we haven't really hit the text line more. We will get to it, I promise. And again, if you want FanFest tickets, just call in 610-632-0975 and tell us the last thing you really looked forward to that you invested money in. This is in honor of NCAA 25 dropping 1 week from today. The player that will surprise us in a positive way this year.
There's a low-hanging fruit answer that I wanted to give, so I won't give it because I think it's just the low-hanging fruit, and I think it's going to absolutely come to fruition. But I'm going to shock you. James Bradbury. James Bradbury was not as terrible as we think he was, and there's a reason they're keeping him around, and I believe that there will be a competent defensive coordinator that will hide his deficiencies and make him a contributor.
All right, let me ask you, where?
I don't
slot, outside, or safety.
My guess is it's not going to be outside again.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will be playing a slot hybrid safety type
which he
role.
did very well.
He did
in limited times last year.
And I was looking at that just the other day because of a Bradbury thing I wanted to talk about next week. He 4 different games they did that. And it actually was 4 of his more productive games, like where he really wasn't a glaring error. I don't believe you're going to see him on the outside. I believe that the younger kids are going to be brought along outside. I think James Bradbury, we're going to go, wow, that was a critical interception by James Bradbury.
And you're going to say, wow,
was a
I'm
big
glad
play.
that they kept him.
They kept him because there's no benefit to cutting him financially. I think it's going to be Bradbury. There was another answer I wanted to give that is the low-hanging fruit. And if one of you two doesn't have it, I'll be disappointed.
All right, Connor?
Well, your answer didn't shock me at all. Because
it didn't? Really?
I went with a very similar player, but just the safer option. I don't know if Bradbury even plays. I can't go positive on Bradbury. But my answer was Darius Slay. Like, there's no way that secondary just fell apart that fast without having major communication issues that came from the defensive scheme.
But here's the thing. He wasn't bad last year.
I know.
He wasn't.
He wasn't a problem last year.
These are compared to our expectations.
Right.
What are your expectations of Darius Slay right now? Because nobody's on social media saying, Darius Slay, all pro, great. He's going to have 5 interceptions, going to take over, put your hand down. You ain't doing that. You're tweeting about the Phillies every night.
I don't tweet that much. I'm the one, I feel like remaining Darius Slay supporter in the city. So.
No. I'm not a. Well, how about this? I don't know that I'm a wild supporter. I'm certainly not a detractor.
Okay.
I think it's ridiculous.
I'm not even saying support or detract. I think a lot of people are middle or lukewarm on him.
You
He's
think
going to
he'll
be
do more?
really good this year, I think.
Okay. Good.
All right, my answer, and I wonder if it's the low-hanging fruit.
Is it going to be?
And I don't have a specific name.
Oh.
a linebacker will be better this year. There's no way it's going to be as bad as it was last year.
Okay, I'm going to cry foul though. I'm throwing
that no one took the quarterback.
No, I'm putting a flag in the air. You got to pick somebody for this exercise. You have to tell me who it is. You can't give me a position group.
Fine, Devin White.
Wow. Okay, tell me more.
Because I think he still has the athletic ability. I don't know what the hell happened in Tampa, and he had a great defensive coach in Todd Bowles, so I can't just say I think Vic Fangio is going to be the reason why he gets better. Dude, I just think it was so bad last year, and I don't think he's Shaq Leonard cooked, where Shaq Leonard literally had surgery on his back, and that's why he is not the same player that he was before his procedure. I think Devin White comes in here and is so much better than what you saw last year. Zach Cunningham, I always made the jokes about how he was the best Cunningham in Eagles franchise history. That's just because he actually made tackles. I think Devin White is a guy that can do more than what Zach Cunningham did last year. And, call me crazy that I expect him to do more. But the Eagles also paid him to do more this year. So I'll go Devin White.
I got to tell you, I like your...
And look,
that's an intriguing answer.
Very low floor. Like, the linebackers were abysmal last year.
My low-hanging fruit that I thought one of you would absolutely take, Dallas Goedert, and I've been saying it all along, Dallas Goedert's going to explode.
But I'm not going to be surprised by it.
But he's going to... you won't be surprised by it.
No, because I think he's really good. I think he's been underutilized.
I think he's good, yeah.
I think he's like...
I think it's going to be
great.
What
was he, sixth in that list of tight ends we ran through yesterday? He's very good. So if you have answers on this, feel free to text in, call in 610-632-0975. We'll get to your text reaction, your call reaction next. Another question out of the hat. And also, I told you about this around 7 o'clock, and we've reached the time, John. Something happened yesterday that I think is basically impossible, but you know what? It happened, so clearly it is possible. I'll tell you what that is next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Bill Colarulo.
625 The Fanatic. You know, sometimes calls don't make it on the air. B. Gunn just told me about a call during the break.
Okay.
From Stymie, who I've talked to Stymie a million times. So Stymie could call back if you wanted to.
I don't even know that I've ever spoken to Stymie.
I've talked to Stymie
I've heard
numerous
Stymie.
occasions.
I've heard Stymie.
So Stymie is very upset because he is a Buccaneers fan.
Okay.
And last year, leading up to the playoff game, we were all ripping Devin White. And he said, now that you guys have Devin White, you guys think he's good. That's a typical Philadelphia thing. Now, let me once again make it clear. I said Devin White will be a positive surprise for us because the linebackers were so bad last year that it can't get worse.
Yeah, you did very much make that.
I did not say Devin White was going to step in here and be Ray Lewis of 2000, right?
No,
I
never.
just think he's going to be better than Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow, and I don't think highly of Nakobe Dean. So I don't think I really went too far saying Devin White will be better. Now, he then went too far and told B. Gunn that Devin White is a future Hall of Famer.
What?
Which is
High school?
asinine.
Based on what? One good year? One really, really good year?
I said if he's a Hall of Famer, then T.J. Edwards is first ballot. Like, come on, man. Saying Devin White is a Hall of Famer.
Is there a chance he has like other skills? Like, is he a really good, I don't know, trombone player? Maybe he could be Hall of Fame trombone.
Maybe. I don't think he's going to Canton, Devin White, unless he has this huge resurgence.
I don't think Devin White. Now, you know what though? If Devin White does end up getting there, it's going to be with us.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to get him there.
All right, we'll get to some texts in a second, some calls. But I saw something on Twitter this morning.
Okay.
It was tweeted out last night at 11:15 p.m.
Why no, I didn't see it then.
Exactly. So the Arizona Diamondbacks, as we know, beat the Atlanta Braves yesterday.
Love that.
1-0.
Okay.
And it was a 1-0 win, thanks to the pitching staff, obviously, for the Arizona Diamondbacks, but that Eugenio Suarez hit a solo home run yesterday.
Okay.
And that was all the scoring. It was a 1-0 victory for the Diamondbacks.
We appreciate you, Diamondbacks.
The guy who caught the home run ball had a ticket for a Eugenio Suarez home run.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's wild.
So think about this for a second.
Okay, that's wild.
This guy, the photo is of him holding the baseball and holding
up the bet?
I think he has DraftKings. I can't tell. Holding up the phone and holding up his DraftKings ticket. Eugenio Suarez, $50 bet to hit a home run, which was a nice payout. He won like $450 for it. So think of any player you could have bet on going to the game.
And you put 50 on it, too.
That guy hitting the home run to you in a 1-0 victory. It's not like it was a 10-0 game and 5 guys hit home runs.
Okay, that's random as all get it.
Like, I feel like I know sports betting is so much bigger than what it used to be, and I know anybody could hit a bet at this point. But I thought it would be borderline impossible for somebody to bet on an anytime home run prop and that guy hitting it to you.
That's really so
Isn't
random.
that insane?
No, that's insane.
It's crazy.
And you're sure it's not doctored? Like, it's not doctored or anything?
No, I don't think so.
That's wild.
I mean, look, maybe somebody else, maybe his friend caught it and then gave it to him. I don't know. But still, the fact that he has the home run ball hit of the player that he placed a bet on to hit a home run, and the game ended up being a 1-0 finish, and the one guy that hit the home run is the guy he bet on?
That's freaking wild.
That's crazy.
That's amazing, though. I like it.
That's one of the coolest stories that I saw this morning when I was scrolling through Twitter.
That's
pretty
wild.
sweet.
But that guy who hit that one, I mean, that's an amazing thing. I always like it when the guy goes, I had this bet. We all have this friend. I got this bet. I got this random bet right.
Yeah.
And then you go, let me see your history.
Let me see all. Yeah, exactly.
Let me see your betting history.
Let me see all
Pull
your
up your
bets.
history. Let me pick. Like, this is the one you hit out of like 55.
Right.
You gotta
I mean,
be careful
like,
these days asking someone to pull up their history.
Yeah, you gotta pull
that's,
up.
that's a good point. All right. Look, Stymie called in. What's up, Stymie?
What's up? Yeah, you said it's okay to call back.
I wanted you to.
Okay. Yeah, I've followed the Buccaneers since 1987.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's not like I just jumped on their bandwagon.
No, that's fine.
We didn't
I'm
accuse
not.
them.
Yeah, I'm not.
Following them. him. Okay?
Not doubting that.
And I'm telling you, I wish we could have Devin White back. Because I'm telling you, he's that good of a linebacker. He wouldn't have been drafted 6th overall in the NFL draft if he wasn't a good linebacker.
You're saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer? Is that your assertion? Because he's not.
I'm saying he will be in the Hall of Fame one day.
He'll never be in the unless you're saying right now from this point on he takes off. He's never going to be in the Hall of Fame.
He won a Super Bowl in his first year that he played.
But he's not going to the Hall of Fame.
That doesn't make him a Hall of Famer.
Don't think that just because he's an Eagle, yous are going to make him a Hall of Famer.
Do you know how many times he's been to the Pro Bowl? You know how many times he's been to the Pro Bowl?
I think he's been there once.
He has. There's no way. His first 5 years in the NFL, he's been to one Pro Bowl. You don't get better at 26, 27, 28. He's like,
why don't you?
No, he is not. As far as starting yanking off your Pro Bowls,
kind of the NFL.
if you're a Hall of Fame, if you're a Hall of Famer, Stein, you're not. He has won one Pro Bowl.
Yeah, there's no All Pros. There's no second team All Pros.
Like a guy like Kyle Hamilton in his second season
already has an All Pro.
He already has an All Pro. He's already been to a couple Pro Bowls. I mean, like seriously, you can't be. He's only been to one Pro Bowl.
There have been guys that have gotten better after they've been in the league 4 or 5 years.
Who are Hall of Famers that for 5 years? Honestly, you have to do your homework on this one because I got to tell you,
I would have to go through everybody in the Hall of Fame,
and I don't think you're going to find it.
I'll give you a name of a guy that's in the Hall of Fame, shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, and never did anything in the NFL.
Who?
And that's Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie's in the Hall of Fame. What did he do?
What does that have to do with your Devin White
It's also
argument?
a totally different position. And listen, we got to, Stymie, I would love to continue this. We got to run. He must be Devin White's biggest fan. Second team All-Pro
it makes no sense.
in 2020, by the way, which, again, that's not good enough.
No.
We're talking.
Hang on. Since when is Doug Flutie in the Hall of Fame?
Doug Flutie's not in the Hall of Fame.
He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, let's just move on from that.
Doug Flutie.
He might be in the college football.
He could be in a college football Hall of Fame.
Definitely.
He is not in the Hall of Fame. I don't even know where that's coming from. Devin White, 5 years in for a linebacker. The average linebacker, I believe, usually puts up like 9, 10 years, maybe.
Dude,
I mean, come on now. Stop.
Doug Flutie might be either in the College Football Hall of Fame or the Canadian Football Hall of Fame.
He's not in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Because he played in the CFL for 8 years.
Doug Flutie is probably a College Football Hall of Fame.
All right, Stymie. Listen, man.
That's crazy. Stymie got into something this morning.
I'm glad that he thinks so highly of Devin White.
He's in the College Football Hall of Fame 2007. He was inducted. Okay. Doug Flutie. He's not anywhere near. He is not going near Canton.
Is this the best show ever? 5 o'clock hour?
I think it might be. And it's a Friday.
Hell.
And it's a Friday too.
It's Kincade Salciunas. Kevin Negandhi joins us next. Start the 9 o'clock hour. 97.5. Kincade Salciunas on this Fanatic Payday Friday. I hope you had a safe trip into work today. You got a couple hours left, and then it's the weekend. All right, enjoy yourselves. Have a beautiful weekend. And now is one of my favorite times. Now, we missed him yesterday, and I missed him last week because I was in Lithuania, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But we talked to him every single week, and he had a beautiful day yesterday, golfing with his two sons.
That's a great moment.
From ESPN, the great Kevin Negandhi joins us. Kevin, how awesome was that for you yesterday?
Good morning, fellas. It's great. It's a sport that they are falling in love with, and it's a sport that's going to stay with them for the rest of their lives. And they want to keep coming back. So despite some shots that we regret, they want to keep coming back, and that's what I think all of us go through as golfers.
Does mom play too or not?
She does when she has time. She's as competitive as anybody I've ever met. So
You've always depicted her that way. So I was wondering.
Those are fun outings, John. Let me tell you, those are fun outings.
That's great family memories too. I mean, we're talking about great memories this morning of just this year feels special. Everything about it of this Philly season feels special. And are you the kind of fan though who tends to bathe in the moment? Or are you one who starts to look ahead and go, okay, let's hope this all works out in October?
Yeah, I'm both of those, John. Like yesterday, actually the last 3 days, I've kind of taken a stance of, man, let's just lean into this and bathe into all of this, because this is uncharted territory on how we feel about this team. I haven't felt this way since I would say 2008, 2009. 2011, obviously, the way the whole starting rotation was lined up and all, but like, I haven't felt this way in a really long time. And it's just, they're not even 100% healthy. There's a lot of good going on. You know, I had Dawn Staley on the air yesterday, and we were talking about her, her love for Philadelphia. And at one point, I asked her, this is a question you guys would ask me. I think you've asked me a couple times in the last few months. I asked her, I said, which team do you feel like is closest to a championship? And the reason why is just all the moves the Sixers have made, the Eagles have made, that the way the Flyers are turning the entire franchise around to feel good. And then what's going on at the bank every single series has been incredible. But to make the statement, John and Andrew, the way they've done it, I think specifically 3 different ways to beat the Dodgers and send a statement has really been incredible. My only concern, it's been my biggest concern from the start of the season, is I think they need to add another bullpen arm. I know you could make a case that they need to target center field, but they need to add another bullpen arm in my mind.
Kevin, I want to ask you this because this is how we started the show, and this is a hear me out sort of question.
Okay.
Is this Phillies team, in your lifetime, one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? And it's a hear me out because we're not counting championships yet. Like the 2011 Phillies before this year, despite losing in the first round of the playoffs, that was the best Phillies team I ever watched. They won 102 games, and the players on that team, that rotation. This team rivals that, and if not, is better. So where does this team rank in your lifetime among all teams in Philadelphia sports?
There's still plenty of baseball to be played, so I won't even go there. Now, I get your point about best teams because I'm going to date myself. The Fog Bowl team that lost in Chicago, that Eagles team in the late 80s.
New Year's of 88.
Disaster, right?
That was disaster.
The way we felt about that team, opening day against Green Bay when the knee injury happened with Bryce Paup on Randall, the way we felt about that team, I had to wait the whole season played out. So it's really tough to say. I mean, the way we felt about that Eagles run 2 years ago, that was a phenomenal team. But we have to see the end result before we determine if this team is going to be there. I love that you can lean in and enjoy summer baseball, something we didn't really experience the last 2 years when they made their runs in the fall, right? We didn't enjoy summer baseball the last 2 years because they were always 6 to 8 games back trying to figure things out. The hitting was awful, wasn't consistent. Right now, everybody is doing their job, and they're still not 100% healthy. I mean, Stott is starting to show life. We still haven't had JT there consistently in the back. And again, I come back to they got to figure out the center field situation. Rojas made a phenomenal defensive play, but I also think Dombrowski, what I love about ownership is, hey, do whatever we got to do. Dombrowski, make the moves you've got to make. We've got a window with Bryce, and we're aware of that window.
Are you a believer in we all love Rob Thompson for a lot of different reasons. Are you a believer? Are you a believer in Topper, the strategist, the in-game chess player?
Yeah, especially how he's managed the bullpen. Like, he's done a great job with that. I mean, the Strahm matchup with Ohtani is a perfect example. Like, you bring in Strahm because you just know that lefty-on-lefty slider is working. And listen, the biggest respect I think that baseball gives Topper is to give these two guys, Hoffman and Strahm, the ability to make the All-Star game because it's not numbers. It's just because they're effective, right? They're smart at what they do. They are aware of what they do. I think sometimes Topper could be a little, I would just say stubborn. That drives you a little bit crazy, and I thought he was a little stubborn with how he approached the entire bullpen last year. It just drove, I think, all of us crazy in the postseason. But right now, he's pressed all the right buttons, and maybe it's my fear from last year and the falling apart. That's why I feel like they just need one more arm. They just need one more, and I think they could find a really good reliever that could just continue to add depth and another option when we look at matchups in the fall.
Now, I know you weren't on last week, so I got to get your opinion on what the 76ers have done.
It's been fantastic. And Daryl Morey deserves a ton of credit because when you started this offseason and you just saw they had basically Ricky Council Jr., I know he was on the roster, and Paul Reed, they still had to, let's get the two guys. Let's make sure they're happy. Let's get Tyrese Maxey re-signed. Let's make sure Joel's happy. And then by doing that, let's build out, right? And I know a lot of criticism will fall on, well, Paul George, but listen, when you look at the money that they had to spend and you look at the top flight free agent and you look at the two stars on the team and you look at the upgrade that Paul George adds compared to what they had on the roster a year ago, he's done everything right. And he has added depth, veteran depth. I thought Caleb Martin was a phenomenal play. Bringing back Kelly Oubre at his price point, a really, really smart decision. Lowry, I think they're going to continue to add Eric Gordon. Guys that understand moments, and again, that's what they need. Because, listen, to win championships in the NBA, to go deep in playoffs, Jalen Brunson, phenomenal star. Who won those series? Brunson did his job, but the guys like the Josh Harts who did the extra work, the DiVincenzo's that do the extra work. When you look at the Celtics, you're going to get Tatum and Brown in big moments. But who's going to win the series? The Drew Holidays, the Derek Whites, the guys that are veterans that understand their role. And I thought Daryl has done a great job. We've got the two stars. We've got 1 and 1A. Paul George doesn't need to be 1 or 1A. He just needs to be a fantastic number 2, third option. And then let's get all the other guys, the veterans that understand 3 and D. And the way the NBA is, you don't have to be a traditional position player. Can you switch up? Caleb Martin, you understand the Celtics. You have played really well against the Celtics in the playoffs. That's what we need. It's understanding the big picture. And I thought Daryl's done a really good job constructing this.
You lead a busy life, Kevin. Do you ever have time to go have batting practice for softball?
No.
Connor does. Connor does. Connor has time.
Hey, what's this all about?
Connor has time to do batting practice. That he's working on his craft, and I almost spit up.
You've been doing softball practice?
Hey, we got playoffs this weekend. Guys want to get some swings in.
That's a guy that has time, Kevin.
He walks in softball.
Well, if they're not going to throw me strikes.
No, you don't.
Yes,
wait a second. There's no way you walk in softball.
Yep,
absolutely,
Kevin.
If they're too scared to throw me strikes, I'm going to take pitches.
Then what's the whole point of BP?
That's a great point, Kevin. That's a great point, Kevin. Now, speaking of time, will you? Now, you got 2 boys, so this might help you. You going to play NCAA 25?
Heck yeah. Are
Yeah,
you
that's what
kidding
I
me?
thought.
You know he's getting an advanced copy.
Guys, listen. I found it 3 years ago. I found my 2014 one.
Yeah.
And my wife was so mad at me because there were nights she'd walk in and I was in the extra room doing it. It's 2 in the morning, and I'm like, Monica, I'm about to get this 5-star recruit, and Temple's going to continue my dynasty. I moved Temple to the SEC, and we won 12 straight natties.
Oh, dude, congratulations.
So I was on a bender there for about 2 months, and it was nonstop. Come home in the middle of my show meetings. I'm taking screenshots, sending it to my producer. I just knocked off Miami. I just won the natty. Like, guys, I am locked into 2025, trust me. And I can't wait to get the boys involved.
Andrew made me the AD this morning of Temple.
Yeah, I'm also the head coach of Temple, but because John doesn't play video games, he's my athletic director, and I think that's a good position for him.
I asked him if I'm allowed to cut. I was in the SEC so long. I've asked him, am I allowed to cut corners?
Absolutely, Dan.
And I said the first thing I'm doing is I'm bringing a bulldozer to North Broad, and we're getting an on-campus stadium.
God bless you.
There we go.
God bless you, John. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I know that. God bless you.
Kevin, listen, man, we appreciate as always. You're the man. It was great catching up. We hope to talk to you again next week. You keep those boys busy, all right?
Hey, I really appreciate that, guys. And I'm going to add one quick thing. 6 p.m. Sports Center, we got Paul Skeen's scheduled live interview.
Dude, that's awesome. All right, we will be checking that out.
Job.
We're going to be talking about Paul Skeen's not too long from now, so thanks for that, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Buddy. Take care.
There he is, Kevin Negandhi on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward. What's next?
Just say that there was a time where Sports Center lost its way, and the 6 o'clock Sports Center then decided, well, we're going to put Kevin Negandhi in the chair.
And that was a great decision.
And Kevin Negandhi just said, okay, people are here for sports. People are here to be entertained and for sports.
Yeah.
And now they've gotten
a great job.
And they've been blowing it out of the water.
All right. I'm going to go to a call, but coming up in a few minutes, we're going to have I was going to ask Kevin this, but not time any longer. I have a question about morality. Let's go to Tavis in Northeast Philly. Tavis, or is it supposed to be Travis? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Tavis.
What's up, Tavis? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, Andrew. How about yourself?
Good, man.
All right, so I'm going to try to be quick like Mike does. All right, so by waiting and anticipating is September 28th Fan Fest. My son turned 21 last year, so I took him for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been going. I go every year, pretty much. I missed a couple of years, because the wife here. You got honeydew list, so I couldn't make a couple of them. But I go every year. It's a blast. I run into, Karate Mark I've known since 96. Me and him go back. My man Tyree, who calls the station, I call him Cheese. We go back since 88. So it's just like a big love fest. Because when you got 3 kids and you're married, it's hard to get together. But Fan Fest is a time when we can get 20 of us from Little League, high school, college.
You know what? I've never thought of it that way, where Fan Fest could be the excuse to get the band back together. I love that.
My man B-Rock, I've been trying to get him to come for years. His brother, but my man B, he never seems to go. Hopefully he hears this, and I pitched him into it. But yeah, it's just a great event, and like I said, it gets me out with the kids. Well, my oldest now that he's 21, so he's all like, "Your dad, you get me my tickets yet?" I heard it on the radio. I was like, "Your tickets? What are you talking about? This is my event." How kids try to take things from you. You know what I mean? But,
here's what we'll do. When we put you on hold, you tell B-Gun how many you need, and we'll take care of you, okay?
Oh, you the man. You the man. So, but the boy doesn't deserve that ball. I'm sorry. That boy does not.
No, he doesn't. You saw it too.
His younger brother was well composed. He was upset that his dad missed it, but he was like, "Okay, Dad, it's all right." The younger brother. The older one was the one crying.
Yeah, what about the older one crying, and then he punches hits his dad?
Oh my gosh!
Tavis,
Listen,
hit your father and mother on the arm. What would happen?
Yes, my mom's from North Philly. If I hit my mom in public, let alone privately, but in public, I'm unconscious. I'm missing the rest of the game.
Exactly.
You're not going to leave because my brother, my other brother, he doesn't deserve to leave the game early.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd be unconscious, and my brother would enjoy the game and told me about it when I woke up in the car.
Good job, Tavis.
Tavis, you're the man. We'll put you on hold so you can get those tickets, brother. We appreciate it.
I could not believe.
I feel bad. I don't want to put the kid on blast.
What? You're not putting the kid on blast.
No, he should not hit his father.
He literally slams his father.
I also don't
You think that's the first time he's done that?
I also don't get the people that think that guy should have caught that missile off the bat at Connor
says he would have caught it.
Yeah.
And he would have practiced.
Connor says a lot of things.
You honestly, though, there's not.
No.
There's not. Look, you think that's the first time that's happened?
If Cooper did it, we would have a talk.
Yeah, exactly. No, more than a talk. I want to hear the story about your dad, too.
Oh, yeah, I got to give you that one.
I want to hear that one.
All right, so question of morality.
Okay.
And it's so funny because I took note of this yesterday. And this morning, before the sun had even risen, Connor was talking about something that I saw. So yesterday, Tony Perrone. There are probably a lot of you who don't know the name Tony Perrone. I will just tell you right now, Tony Perrone is one of the nicest people I've ever met.
She knows where everybody's buried here, too.
Well, she is the office manager.
Correct.
Tony Perrone.
She knows everything about everything.
Right, and not just office manager of 97.5 The Fanatic, also Ben FM, MGK, XTU, WMMR, right? So she is the office manager of all 5 stations, and she is an incredible person and does incredible work. And it's one of those, there's always the cogs in a business that people don't really know about. She is a key cog in this business. Okay. So yesterday, she sends out a company-wide email. Now, she normally does. So one of the things she does
usually is there's pizza.
Or let's say there's leftover tickets.
Right.
Yesterday, there was a Sam Hunt concert last night.
Exactly.
And she sent out the email, does anybody want the Sam Hunt? Sometimes it's sports tickets, it's concerts, you name it. She sends out an email. And this just tells me how nice she is. And I already knew that she was very nice. But it's a question of morality. The header of the email reads as follows. Anybody lose $2 in the lobby? ? And then the email reads, if so, I have it at my desk.
So it's in the lobby, so it's behind our secure doors.
Yes.
So it's not like this isn't in the public lobby. This is in the lobby of all of our radio stations.
It's clearly somebody who works here, or we have the AM station, and they usually have guests in studio and all that kind of stuff.
$2.
$2. Is $2 worth the company-wide email?
Not just that. If I find less than $10,
you're pocketing it.
Every single time.
Absolutely.
I think, Connor, you are speaking like
everybody.
90% of society.
I would say 99.
No, I saw 5 at Giant in Downingtown.
I'm pocketing
recently.
It. I'm pocketing it.
And it was near where somebody would bag the groceries. Like, at the end when you're coming around the end. Mm-hmm. So I'm grabbing a bag and there's $5. And I asked the young lady, did somebody just drop this? And she said no.
And she said, yeah, right into my pocket.
She said no. And I said, well, maybe. And I was torn at that point to just keep it.
Over $5?
$5. Now, I was torn whether to keep it
or give it to her.
I left it. She was probably 20.
Well, that's nice.
And I left it for her.
But you weren't going to go John Wick and try to find whose $5 it was,
I was not.
To get them their $5.
But in a situation like that, where it's like right where somebody could have dropped it, I'm thinking maybe they're changing out the tills.
Right. So we all agree we're keeping the $2.
I'll tell everyone at Beasley right now.
And I would not put an email out for $2.
You drop $2, I find that $2, you're out $2. Sorry, that makes me a bad person.
If it was 20, you send out the email. 2? At first, I thought it was a mistype. Like, did you miss a 0 or 2 zeros?
I don't think if it's 20, Connor's putting out an email.
I find 2 singles. I'm not bending over to pick that up. I don't make money like that.
It shows you how nice of a person Tony Perrone is for she to put out an email that she found $2 and was wondering if anybody lost it.
Amazing.
But the question of morality, now we're all keeping those $2 and we're not telling anybody about it. If anything, I'm going up to Connor like, yo, bro, look, I found $2.
Just found $2.
I would have celebrated it.
That's sick.
All right, coming up next, we get to your text. And also, you heard Kevin Negandhi promote that Paul Skeens will be on 6 o'clock Sports Center.
Paul, Positive Josh's big brother.
Yes. Paul Skeens had a no-no yesterday until he got pulled. Let's have a conversation about that. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Friday, Fanatic Friday. You got Bob Cooney in the midday show coming your way next. Bill Colarulo in with Bob today. Ray Dunn producing the show.
Saw Bill and got a fresh set of capris on. He's ready to go.
And you'll hear, I don't want to spoil anything, but you'll hear how the softball championship played out for Ray Dunn and company at some point during the midday program today.
Did Ray do batting practice for softball? Hey, Connor, I had to bring that up with Kevin.
That's fine.
Because I knew he'd enjoy it. I knew he'd enjoy that kind of content.
Man, that's great.
I did enjoy that content.
Got to get my work in. Now I got a blister that I'm dealing with, but I'll be okay.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're gonna go in the IL.
Work on your craft.
Jeez. All right.
Your craft. That was the best line.
First thing I said was it must have been an excuse to go out and drink, and Connor said no, I didn't have any beer.
No, because they're focused.
No, we didn't have beer at the field for that one.
Unbelievable.
It's the playoffs.
You know where you could get beer though?
I know where.
The Artillery Brewing in Drexel Hill and Westchester. How about the Fanatic Deal of the Week for just $25? You'll get a $50 gift card. Experience the spirit of the American Revolution at Artillery Brewing, where history meets exceptional craft beer. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. John, I've noticed, and I'm sure you know all about this, once you're in parenthood, fatherhood,
yes,
you look forward to the little things, like your little bits of freedom.
Yes, absolutely.
We play pickup basketball most Wednesdays. It's been a little time off because I was in Lithuania. It's been 99 degrees on Wednesdays. Weather hasn't really cooperated. But Connor, as you know, I'm always trying to get 10 guys because that escape from one night of bedtime during the week, those 2 hours of freedom, I look forward to Wednesday nights so much. Tonight, Christy is going out with a couple of her girlfriends for dinner.
Okay.
I will get Cooper down early, baby. And I will have like 2 or 3 hours of freedom tonight.
And it's cool.
It's just these little things. I told you, I'm a simple man. I'm already a simple man. And now with fatherhood, I'm even more simple. I just need little things. I can't wait for those 2 or 3 hours of freedom tonight.
You want to go grab Pop?
I can't go out and grab it because Cooper will be home. No, you can't babysit your own child.
What's he going to drive away?
You can't do this.
I know.
God, this is really scary.
But I can't wait to maybe I'll stop at Artillery before I head home.
You might want to try that.
Have a few pops at my house. I'm not going out, Connor. I can't do that.
I understand.
All right, yesterday.
Wink, wink.
Baseball. This is a national story, but it's something that we all can talk about because we are Phillies fans. We're baseball fans. And, oh, by the way, we might actually have something that we could totally relate to. So last night, or yesterday afternoon
game,
Paul Skeens was ridiculous.
Well, he's filthy anyway.
He is so good. And yesterday, he pitches. He has, 7 strikeouts through the first 3 innings, something like that. The Pittsburgh Pirates, the young phenom who's just 22 years old, who's just electric, strikes out 11 batters yesterday in 7 innings. His ERA is now down to 1.90. He had 7 no-hit innings, 99 pitches, and gets pulled. Now, obviously, there are people that are up in arms because they pulled him. This is a 22-year-old kid. I am in the least bit surprised that they pulled him out of the game.
I'm not the least bit surprised.
Now, the question is whether or not, as the player that he is, should they have allowed him to keep pitching because he may have thrown a no-hitter in Major League Baseball. I'm sure Paul Skeens has thrown a no-hitter at some point in his life because he's just that good. But at the Major League level, he was 6 outs away from a no-hitter. How hard must that be as the manager to pull him?
I can't even imagine taking the ball out of his hands. I don't. And you know, too, that I am a longtime advocate of just, I don't believe his arm is going to fall off.
Right.
So I would absolutely have let him continue to pitch.
Now, it's not just that. What, are they saving him for the playoffs?
Well,
the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right.
They're 2 games out of a wild card.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
they are. And he's a win, basically.
But think of what a wild card series would mean to the Pirates. It'd mean a lot.
Yeah, watching your team lose 2 games on the road really changes a franchise.
Come on.
That team stinks, John.
Come on. I don't care. It's that I still think that they're They do. They
don't play at home, so they don't get revenue. They're going to get smoked. Like, let the guy that would be the highlight of your season if you're a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, your manager took it away.
Now, I will say this. We watched a no-hitter, and I was blessed to be in the stands for it last year with Michael Lorenzen.
You did. And the unlikeliest of unlikely.
Dude, it was. I went to a game with two of my best friends, two of my groomsmen. We went to the game. My buddy had tickets from work. We were supposed to go to a game earlier in the week that got rained out, and they gave him the option between the Lorenzen game or the next day, something like that. And I said, you know what? That day works better for Christy. Let's go to that one. It ends up being the no-hitter, so I'm glad that worked out. But Lorenzen threw 124 pitches. Mm-hmm. Now, I know 124 back in the day was nothing.
Nothing.
But today, with sports science, it's considered taboo. He throws 124 pitches. Remember, before the no-hitter, we were talking about whether or not he should have been the Game 2 starter in the play. Remember those debates? If the playoffs started today, should Nola not be the Game 2? Remember those?
Yeah.
Like, Lorenzen had been effective before the no-hitter. So he throws the no-hitter. The games after that, 6 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 6 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 4 earned runs. Pitched his way out of the rotation come playoff time.
Yeah, but dude, Skeens does this every day. Lorenzen was like, he was solid, but he wasn't this level of dominant.
Okay. Oh, I get that. Like, if I'm going to pick a pitcher to throw, it's going to be Paul Skeens and not Michael Lorenzen. But the pitch count concern is there. I still remember Johan Santana throwing a no-hitter with like 140 pitches.
Yeah.
And his career was over.
What
like
was
his arm fell off.
Like, how many pitches was he at when he got yanked in the side?
99.
Oh, yeah, dude, let him go.
And I absolutely would let him go. And again,
here's the hard thing. You let him go in 8th, right?
Okay.
Let's say he throws 17 pitches in the 8th. It's still no hitter.
He's pitching the 9th.
Now he's at 116.
He's pitching the 9th.
Oh, yeah, throw him.
He's pitching the 9th. And again, I'll point to it here, and there's any one of a number of studies. Chris Camp has one from Mayo Clinic and more. Injuries every single 3 years in baseball get worse, not better. More injuries.
Yeah,
to
they're
pitching.
getting. You're right.
Pitching injuries are getting worse.
And I think a lot of it is
the more we pamper pitchers.
I think a lot of it's spring training too. They don't let them throw anymore.
And it's because baseball has created this screwed up problem on a twisted science that does not exist.
Well,
there is from 20, you could go 3 years ago, you can go 6 years ago, in any 3-year increment, baseball continues to get worse with pitcher injuries.
Do guys continue to throw harder? Does velocity continue to increase?
Velo absolutely is a part of it.
Does movement continue to increase?
Yes.
And
did they take away sticky stuff?
Thanks to spider tag, yeah.
They did.
So it's not just that these injuries don't exist or that they're pampering them. It's also that guys are throwing harder, more stress on your body, more obsession over movement and velocity that's leading to guys pushing their bodies further.
As I said, this is a baseball created their own problem with
right, but it's not just pampering them.
No, but pampering is a big part of it. As players' workloads go down, as players' innings are protected, the injuries go up, not go down. It's simple science. And you can go back in any 3-year period and just look at the graphs and go,
it's gotten worse.
Wow,
right,
it gets
but
worse.
it's not just directly 1 equals 1.
But the less you pitch, it's
that's
not
too
good for
simple
you.
of a conclusion.
It is a direct correlation.
It's more nuanced than that, John.
No,
just because one thing happens and one thing happens doesn't mean it's exactly.
And I didn't say that's the only reason. So you're making an argument that I'm not making.
It sounds like you're making that argument, so I'm responding to it.
The more pitchers pitch, they have been healthier.
Okay,
the more innings players pitch.
This is the same thing as your NBA argument, and you have to use some logic alongside the science, and you're not doing that.
What is the logic I'm not using?
If you use something less chance you break it.
Okay, but it's
very simple.
But it's more. But that's not happening, and I've got the data.
So it's like there's more at play here.
The less you're using him, the more they're injured.
It's almost like there are other contributing factors that you need to consider.
But it is directly less. You're not doing. It's baseball created this because of, and it's one major factor.
I will also say that
It's
and this might be incorrect. There were probably more steroids being done.
I guarantee
back in the day, and performance.
You don't think there's being
enhancement.
done now?
They're probably finding ways.
Of course they are.
They're finding ways.
They found it in every generation. Plus, too, though, they're also in a lot of ways. It's the difference. I think the major difference, Connor, is money.
Oh yeah,
Is the more
investment.
that's the
totally
investment
fair as well.
that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of this investment. Paul Skeens absolutely should have been able to pitch.
Especially because he's making nothing.
He handled it like a pro.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Well, yes, but what are you going to do?
And he didn't. He was sucking his teeth.
He probably did not want to come out. Yeah.
No.
Right. All right, give us a text on the text line there, Connor. We got the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 coming up in our crossover with one Bob Cooney.
We got a bunch on the text line today, and a lot of people checking in on Daryl Morey. So no name on this text. So they say Morey's having a super off season, but when it comes to trust and faith, I say no.
See, I figured people would say no.
Only Howie and Dombrowski have it in the city for me.
He didn't get any faith yet. What faith is he? What does he produce?
I know he's got to win something. Well, Dombrowski hasn't won a World Series yet with the Phillies.
Dave Dombrowski has his four franchises.
I know, but I'm saying to that logic.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't. That'd be like saying if you hired Bill Belichick as a coach, you don't have more faith in him than somebody else. You got to have faith. Dave Dombrowski is a spectacular.
Right. No, and I think more highly of Dombrowski and Howie than I do Daryl Morey, but I do believe Daryl Morey has backed up what the plan was. Everything that he wanted to do, he has so far accomplished. The only thing that hasn't been done yet is win a championship.
We had the chance to run into him and had a little conversation with him. He delivered every single thing he sort of said about it. And honestly, I didn't see it coming together.
And it's come together pretty well, and it's still not done yet because we could still keep an eye on Gary Trent Jr. and where he might want to go. And I saw a report last night that Philadelphia is still on his radar.
I don't know how you afford all these things, but that's up to Daryl Morey and his team.
You have a smart president of basketball operations to put it together, and he's clearly doing that.
That put me over the top.
All right, coming up next, the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3, followed by our crossover with one Bob Cooney on this Fanatic Friday right here. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas,
Behave
97.5
yourself.
The Fanatic. What? I was just having some friendly
You were getting
banter with
scolded.
Ray Dunn.
That is the most scolding that I've seen you receive from Connor Thomas.
Well, he's trying to defend his man Ray in there, and I understand.
No, it's not about Ray. I'm trying to defend this program.
Oh.
You're getting distracted by outside noise.
Wait, hold on a second. I do have 3 more minutes to talk to Ray. You know why? Because it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Oh, my God, they did it. They completed the sweep of the L.A. Dodgers. Johnny, good morning.
It is a good morning when you get good stories to talk about like that, and it was, honestly, an amazing 3 nights of baseball.
Unbelievable. You had the absolute beatdown in Game 1 where they win 10-1. Then you have the edge-of-your-seat game in Game 2 when they win 4-3. They come back. The big Matt Strahm out against Shohei Ohtani, and then he gets out of the inning the very next batter, and Jeff Hoffman goes out there, gets the save, and then yesterday, more comfortable game, but still tight, right? A 5-1 ball game, especially against a lineup like the Dodgers.
It never felt comfortable to me.
No, it didn't. And a lineup like the Dodgers can always, one swing in the bat can always change something. But the Phillies just continued to dominate yesterday. Aaron Nola, 6 strong innings, allows just 1 earned run, 4 hits, strikes out 9. Matt Strahm, again, a shutout inning. Jeff Hoffman, again, a shutout inning. And then good for Jose Alvarado. I know it wasn't a safe situation, but Alvarado goes out there, walks 1 batter, strikes out 1, and has ultimately a clean 9th inning for the Phillies yesterday, and they get another win. And now all of a sudden they are 61-32, and that number 61 is also something else, John.
The magic number.
Unbelievable. I have a question.
What's that?
And it's a Fanatic Friday. It's a fun,
Sure.
Friday, laid back Friday. There's really no hard hitting topic that you and I are gonna go
one.
after. Yeah. Should they trade this player? No. I want to know
Who would
this.
you rather have?
Is this Phillies team one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history?
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Now,
The question seems
crazy,
but then when you think about it, it's still, there's so much to be written.
They are 61-32. They are very close to doubling their loss total to where they are at with wins. Like, if they sweep the A's, think about it. They sweep the A's, they are 64-32. That is double the record.
That'd be wild. But the fact that this team is where they're sitting, putting themselves in a great position, getting healthier,
yes,
which is a big deal too. Yes, I've never felt this way about any Phillies team. Any.
Kyle Lowry re-signs with the Sixers yesterday. We talked about it during the show yesterday that it would be great to have him back.
Wonderful.
Even if it's just 15 to 20 minutes.
Yes.
He's that veteran point guard that can start or he can come off the bench. And it also helps Tyrese Maxey because I still don't believe that Tyrese Maxey is a true point guard, right? Like, if you still believe that he's a true point guard, I think you're naive. And I think you just think positionless basketball. Kyle Lowry is a legitimate point guard. Tyrese Maxey is a combo guard. So I think it's great that they brought Kyle Lowry back.
They believe 21.7% of turnovers, the 22%, are completely random.
Okay.
And what they found is with winning teams, you can count on that number completely going back to you. Like, if you get screwed one year where you go to -17, -18 in turnovers, your number's terrible. You've taken a huge swing back. Last year, Eagles were -10. That you can count on just the bounce of the ball helping you out by around 20%.
So what you're saying is
the Eagles are going to be a much better team this year.
In terms of the turnover differential.
A much better team this year.
Now, I want to focus on this. Is this Phillies team one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? Now, hold on a second, because I know there's somebody in their car or they're waking up early and maybe they didn't even have a cup of coffee after what I just said. Forget winning a championship for a second. I know that's hard to do. I know there's somebody saying, well, hold on, let's see what they do before you crown them anything. I'm just saying, looking at a team, looking at how they have played, talent that is on the team, because this team is filled with it. Is this one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? Not just Phillies.
I had more faith in Daryl Morey than I did 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And again, he outperformed what I expected him to be able to do. And for that, the old tip of the cap, as you wear your throwback Phillies cap today, It's a tip of the cap to Daryl Morey. I think he's done more and accomplished more as far as building what a roster looks like for the season we're looking forward to having. Much better than I expected.
Is this one of the greatest teams in Philadelphia sports history? Like, the 2011 team was still the best in my lifetime, but this isn't resume. This isn't like, no, I'd rather have Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee. No, I'm talking about the way a team is playing. This team is almost like, I don't know, like it's the best team in baseball. This team's the best team in baseball. All right, that's the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. And now, it's time for our
Bob
crossover
Cooney.
with Bob Cooney.
What's
Good
up,
morning.
boys?
How are you today, Bobby?
Oh, if I was any better, I'd be you.
Thank you. See, I found it interesting. I thought I was the weird one going sweatpants today. You're going sweatshirt.
Yeah, it
He
might
came in
come
in
off
the rain,
soon,
though, right?
but yeah, I think it was raining this morning. I don't know. I got to
Oh, it
tell you,
was?
Andrew.
Oh.
I don't.
It was bright or dark and early in the morning. I just grabbed clothes and I
What do you
had
mean you don't remember
sweatpants.
if it was raining?
I don't know.
A little dazed?
No, it was not raining. I did not need my windshield wipers
Are you okay?
on the way in.
I don't know if
I
he
don't
got
know.
it.
I don't know
you need to
what's
talk
going
about?
on.
Like, what's
no,
going on? You
it's
don't-
all good. It's all good today, but it's dark. It's gloomy. John just reminded me it's going to rain during the weekend. I can't stand that.
I know you hate that. We
I
all
know.
do.
So
You know what
but
I've noticed driving in at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sure you had.
there's not a lot of traffic.
Well, yeah, which is amazing. But
Yeah.
there's some days where like I basically am having an out of body experience. And all
Well,
of a sudden-
that's because of the. Oh.
all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, I'm on 76 already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that
sometimes
happens
I
a
don't
lot.
I don't realize how far I drove.
There's a lot of automatic pilot when you're getting out of bed at 3:30 in the
right,
morning.
like all of a sudden it just like hits me. I'm like, oh wait, I'm about to get off City Ave. Like,
I wonder if we're safer in that autopilot.
Thank God there's no traffic.
Yeah, yeah,
you
Put it
wonder-
that way, yeah.
You wonder. You wonder if
Because you
it's
don't have to think. You're just driving because there's no
Right.
traffic. You're just driving. Automatic drive. Yeah.
yeah.
so much easier.
What do we
Automatic
got on the
pilot.
show today? I've already
I don't
mentioned that
know.
Bill Collins.
I have no idea.
just-
You have any ideas?
That is unbelievable.
I'll say that this Phillies team isn't the greatest team that's been in my lifetime. Not even close.
Which
Who
one's
is it?
better, 82, 83 Sixers?
Yeah, and maybe a whole bunch of other teams. Like
a whole
they're
bunch of others.
like you say, John. If you don't win, then it's a disappointing
No,
season. So
well-
I don't know. I mean,
But we're talking about the regular season ride only. We took
it's great.
postseason
I
out
love
of
it.
Like I mentioned,
we took postseason out of it.
2011 is the greatest up until this year was the greatest Phillies team I ever watched play.
Yeah.
Even though they did not win a World Series, even get out of the first round. I've seen 3 World Series appearances in my lifetime,
Yeah.
and none of them are the best Phillies team I've ever watched play. 2011 was the best team I've ever seen play.
Yeah, 11 team was better than the 8 team.
By
You
by
know,
so
yeah.
far.
You saw Kevin
Yeah,
this
it's
morning.
funny.
Though. Kevin passed too. He goes 2011 team didn't do it for him like 09. Like or 10. Like for some reason, it just seemed different.
I don't know why.
I don't know. It just didn't seem.
The rotation was just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
this is a fun team.
This is so much
they
fun.
are fun. Like last night when Schwarber comes up, doesn't do anything, and then Turner hits a home run. It's like Amy and I were talking about yesterday. This is a team of course he did. Like, yeah, of course he went yard. And that ball coming off Turner's bat yesterday to right field looked like a pop-up
Yeah,
to me.
opposite
and it just
field,
kept
that just
going
kept
and going and going and going.
Would you have caught the Schwarber ball?
I don't know. I was thinking
You wouldn't have been on your phone. I know that.
I would have one-handed it probably.
No, you would not.
No, because you do soft. You can't put your hand out
No,
there
you have to
hard.
come
You have to
back. Yep.
you have to guide
I know,
it down
I
into
know.
your hand.
Thing
So
is, that went up got him at waist level.
I don't think anybody was expecting a ball to get up there.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And if he did catch it, it would have been after multiple bobbles. That thing's not. That's making an imprint.
What did you call it?
A piss missile.
A piss missile. Yes.
I know it's a vulgar term. I apologize
Thank you.
to the people listening, but that's a baseball
Horrible.
term.
Yeah, we got Bill Colarulo 4 hours today. Also, Keith Pompey is going to join us at noon, so we
Nice.
might take a bigger look at what are the Sixers going to do moving forward. Kyle Lowry here and all that. So we'll take a look at a lot of things.
We'll be listening.
Have a
and
good
if you have any
weekend.
ideas, send them in
Yeah, I got
610-6209.
Here, you want my show sheet?
All right, boys.
Support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partners, Davis CPA Group. Ron Davis, have a great weekend. Make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. Do it today at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives.
Everybody have a great freaking weekend. All right, 85 shows in the books, Johnny. It's been a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody who texted and called in and tweeted in and emailed this entire week. We'll be back at it on Monday. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.